Hello, this is the 2007 Allies versus the Octopus chess competition, and we are the Allies here, and Greg is in another room, and we are going to be playing him. All of us will be the black pieces, and he will be the red pieces. And Greg is the 11-time Montana champ. He's a nationally recognized master. He floats around town known as the Octopus. He's known for playing 56 games at once. And he's the highest ranked player in Montana, so it's wonderful having him here in Missoula. And he also played Bobby Fischer to a draw once, which was good, and probably his greatest claim to fame. And let's see, I think we'll maybe drop the rest of those later. He is probably going to start off today with this move for which he's fairly famous these days. And let's see, does Greg even know that the game is, does he know the TVs are running? No, he doesn't know. Let's get him to, he said that this would probably be his first move, so why don't somebody go and get this. Sorry, Eric, if you would do that. I should introduce everybody. Eric is going to initially do the back and forth running. There's also Ben, Miles, Dale, and my name's Paul. And this is going to be very awkward till we get the rhythm going in terms of how we do things. This is probably going to start off as some kind of a Sicilian Dragon Sicilian in reverse, otherwise known as an English opening. But basically it was originally popular for these moves to be played by black against black's pawn to king 4, against white's pawn to king 4, but all the pieces are all backwards here because it's sort of, but as I say, it's kind of an opening in reverse that is becoming increasingly popular because it's very sound and difficult to defeat. It is not so much by playing a defense as the white pieces instead of an opening as the white pieces is sort of a difficult nut to crack, even though it may not immediately put as much pressure on the black pieces. And our big question is, how are we going to respond? We're the black pieces, and the pawn to king 4 is usually what I like to do. I am just simply, it's the most opening move in chess. It lets the bishop out, the king's bishop out in a long diagonal, and it also lets the queen out, even though one does not really want to prematurely develop the queen. It basically just gets rid of black's opening difficulties. And has he said something? He said that's his move?
Yeah, clock is running.
Okay, so now our clock's running?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so why don't we press our button to get it going? And I don't know, if this were me, I'd move pawn to king 4 for black. I'm sorry, here. This is us. Oops, there we go. Okay. Great. I don't know how many people are familiar with what. You guys get to talk about what our move should be. This is your standard chess clock. It's in 2 halves, and by pushing the alternate buttons, it starts one clock and stops the other. And Greg has a total of 45 minutes for all of his moves, whereas we have 2 hours and 15 minutes. Most of it will be wasted in meaningless discussion. Other than pawn to king 4, how do people like to respond to this?
That's actually what I do myself.
That is standardly the best move. The closest possible alternative would be pawn to...
You need a microphone. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Usually I would recommend pawn to king 4 as well, but the next closest move would probably be pawn to queen bishop 4. Right there, yeah.
In other words, that a purpose of that is to compromise white's pawn to queen 4. In other words, it compromises that move, which pawn to king 4 also does. What would you do, actually?
I would recommend pawn to king 4 myself as well.
Anybody else want to vote?
I'll agree with the pawn to king 4.
Okay.
I like the,
Dale, you have a
this
comment?
suddenness.
Okay, then let's just tell them that's our move, and if we can pick on you again, Eric, that's great. All righty, you go ahead, and I'll push our clock about when the center clock gets pushed. We only have one really official clock, and that's between the rooms. Last time we did this, we had some kind of a time disagreement, so we've got a total of 3 clocks, one for Greg, one for us, and one official one in between, which is ridiculous, but it's the way things are going to have to work. Now, let's figure out what Greg's going to do next. And we can't have Eric being the runner the whole time, so somebody else is going to have to sort of alternate or something or another. But
Because otherwise, you know what I mean, one bad
you
move.
think I'll do an immediate pawn to queen bishop 4, and I think you're probably right. Other possibilities do exist. He could possibly put the bishop immediately there. He could take the knight out, whatever.
Greg's next move is pawn to c4.
Pawn to c4, all right. And now there are several different. I would attempt a reverse Yugoslav, which basically starts off with knight out. But I'm not going to. Miles, you seem to be familiar with the various books of this.
Let's see. Yes, knight to f6 is certainly the most popular choice.
All right. There's
See,
always
the next, other possible is bringing the other knight out to c6.
All right. Anybody else?
One of those 2 moves.
All right.
Knight f6 is a solid move, I believe.
Okay.
And you know his next move, more than likely, he's going to
Okay.
bishop g2.
Okay. Why don't we do that? Knight to f6, and why don't I hand this to Miles, and I'm going to run just to do my turn with running.
Yes, and yes, again, we're all going to be doing our part. We're all going to be running out there at some point in the game. Even you, Dale.
Not me.
Especially.
Give it time. At any point, all right. What's the verdict?
Oh, I'm supposed to wait until he moves?
Yeah, and then hit the clock after he moves on the way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
He also mentioned he wants it on right.
Let's see. We were warned this would be a bit awkward, and
You promise what we do?
but
Okay, the bishop, though, the predictable bishop, yes, to g2.
all right.
Right. All righty.
So
Am I back in business?
yep, you are back. In
Okay. Now, as a general rule, it's kind of the first person who can leave book with a sound, sensible, and aggressive, meaningful move that gets an immediate opening advantage. By leave book, I mean get away from standard book moves. Now, this is going to be probably standard book moves for the next 3 or 4 moves, regardless of how clever we think we are. But just because the themes of the openings are pretty well established, I think. But let's figure out now. It's black's move, and who has a suggestion? I would do the immediate pawn to queen 4, and swap it and move the knight to here, reinforce it with the bishop, and try for what I say kind of a Yugoslav in reverse. But I do not have particularly good luck with this against Greg, largely because he really knows it. But if anybody has a better idea than a Yugoslav in reverse, I'm very happy to go along with them.
Let's see.
I wouldn't know about better idea, but
I'm not finding. Let's see. Technically, a better idea. Again, I'm seeing.
No, forget the word better, but whatever.
I see alternatives.
All right.
See, there's
The only thing
bishop
is-
to bishop to c5 there.
the only thing I see wrong with that would, not your move, I mean, D5 would be, he would just push his e-pawn and chase the knight. So that bishop move actually looks fine, in my opinion.
Okay, the chasing the knight's also perfectly booked, but let's do something a little different. Let's do this. I'm happy with that.
All right.
Okay, you want to do?
I'll do the honors this time.
And don't mess up like me and stay there till he moves. That'd be great.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay.
Ironically, that's what Fritz does.
Okay, no, that's
His
fine.
computer program does that,
Oh, okay.
so it should be sound.
Okay. I mean, it's also booked in my reverse Yugoslav, but it usually isn't done immediately. It's usually done later, but it gets to the same place, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
When I'm talking about a reverse Yugoslav, and I don't know who knows what about chess, but basically it was very popular in the 1970s. The great American player Bobby Fischer popularized the Yugoslav. It had been invented well before that, and basically the colors are reversed. White does the pawn to king 4 move, and black does the pawn here move, and the Yugoslav is a very aggressive defense. Excuse me, it was a very aggressive opening. Again, the colors are reversed, so I tend to speak backwards. Where white queenside castles and marches his pawns down aggressively against the black king. And it became, in the 1970s, it was considered self-working. It pretty much discredited the so-called dragon. This is kind of a dragon in reverse. And then it sort of got rejuvenated, and people sort of managed to realize that it wasn't as absolute a discreditation as they thought, and it's still being played. But I'm always sort of working on it and trying to,
Regular move knight to c4.
Okay,
I'm guessing.
alrighty. That's probably a perfectly good guess. And
Or he might do the other knight.
yeah, he might do the other night.
Castle, Ramos Castle.
Hi.
Hi. See, the verdict is knight to f3.
F. I'm sorry, the F.
The other knight.
So he can castle.
All right.
Not only that, he's probably looking to put pressure on the d4 square to undermine the bishop that we've just moved.
All right. Now, because I've never been in this exact situation, because I usually do things in a slightly different order, the obvious problem with pushing the pawn forward and making the knight move to a lousy square, does that just surrender the center for later on and he gets it back? In other words, I'm talking about here. In other words, is that a bad move after? It probably is a bad move. I mean, almost certainly a bad move in principle. It is a bad move in principle. You might even be able to move here and
Well, he would go knight g5 and swallow the pawn.
yeah.
Yeah. And even if you didn't see that, knight to d4, and that knight's in a great spot. And
No. Knight to d4, he takes it. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So that, I was thinking, it looks like he has to go to another square. And I don't think there's any really good way of supporting it after he moves here.
There's not.
So with that in mind, I think we should probably keep it where it is. Now, do we do what I would do, which is moving this pawn up and putting the knight over here? Does somebody have a better idea?
He'll take
Well,
the-
see, right now he's threatening to push his d pawn to d4, and two attacks and two defenders, he'll win the square.
If you move the queen pawn out too, he's going to take the king pawn. That's what
Yes,
happens.
so we have to defend
You gotta
against that
defend that king pawn.
again by moving the other knight.
I'm not supposed to.
Well,
You can do it this way by pushing the pawn.
well, does he really want his but
Maybe not.
What would he do?
Okay, we can defend against it by using, with the other knight, but it seems to me we can defend against it by moving the pawn up as well, because after pawn takes, knight takes,
No,
the
he'll
queen
take the
defends
D4
it.
pawn. Well, he'll take the D4 pawn with his knight, maybe.
You're talking about this pawn, what you talking about, this
That-
pawn?
That one, that's
Okay.
that's threatened.
All right, okay.
It's E5.
Yeah,
What-
so
What if you
so
move
now-
the-
Okay, so knight
so
here,
not only
knight here
defends
has
it,
to
but
be done.
protects against.
I go for knight.
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
question. I have a question first, gentlemen. What's preventing our knight from advancing to?
We're not developed yet.
Well,
Yeah, we
we're-
only have half our pieces out.
No,
and he could
we're
just
asking for it. If
G4.
we do that, he'll just kick it
So
back.
this castle.
He'll just kick it back.
Yeah, but this pawn is undefended.
He could he'll simply castle.
A castle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
defended by the king.
As soon as he castles, then we wasted a move, and then
Oh, I guess
we'll
we-
practice
Yeah.
again.
then we're in
Yeah,
big trouble.
Ben's asking about this move here, and basically he'd castle and kick it back. It's just we're not ready for that level of attack. In other words, Ben's talking about putting immediate pressure on this pawn here, and you castle, and the... Okay, well, at any rate, if we moved here, we got to go. Okay, here you go.
All right. Okay, and see, next step would be, what would Greg do next in this position? Could simply
You might-
simply
well,
castle
the
in
other
this.
knight or castle. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Megan.
I put my money on
That's-
castle.
Castle. So we're all looking at those.
See, we're not castled yet either. and
Yeah. Let's.
Usually a castle about the same.
But he doesn't have to do that immediately either, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other
Yeah,
knight, I think.
yeah, the other knight, he could push this D pawn up one so he can get the other bishop out.
I think they'll move the knight. Or a castle.
They'll either move the knight or castle.
The knight moves the knight.
He'll castle. He won't put the knight out there. He doesn't like the four knights game.
You don't?
That's I was
That's good
also
to know.
I was also thinking something else in typical Greg Nowak principle. You'd push this pawn up one, move the bishop, and then connect these knights by putting one right here.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Yeah,
By one,
he likes that much
two.
better.
Yeah.
three. He plays a very solid defensive game, and so
Okay.
by the
What do you
time
do?
No, wait, this isn't out. This has to be right.
okay, he played that.
And then this went here.
See,
Right,
and
right.
right, he did play out the other night. That's something we did discuss.
He
There you
just
go,
played
Paul.
the knight?
Okay.
Right.
So far, this is all looking like we're sticking with straight principles, which is basically good. Now, we've got to decide about here if I'm not to try to force a Yugoslav,
It might
which
be
is
time to castle.
we could castle.
Castle, and so we're safe if we do attack. If you move
Okay.
the queen pawn out, it's going to be an attack, and we're not castle.
Okay, we can castle, which means no Yugoslav in reverse, which is fine. It's probably would probably last longer if we don't do anything as risky as a Yugoslav. So we either do that. Now we have to be a little careful how we're going to get this bishop out. This doesn't make it because it isolates this bishop, I think. And weird moves like the knight here can often be effective. Sooner or later, we've got to probably move this pawn up.
Yeah.
But if you want to castle now, I'm happy with castling.
It's the best idea for now.
I wouldn't.
Four.
I'd do the Yugoslav, which means this up and rapid queenside development and queenside castling. But I'll do it if you want to do it.
You wanna
Great.
try it?
What do you want to do, Miles?
Let's see, it's a very tough decision. So again, pushing that pawn, I'm looking at that bishop, and it does kind of worry me. So what do you think?
Where's bishop? This bishop? This bishop?
No, when you push the pawn out, it's in the line of Greg's bishop on
That's what I'm worried about,
G2.
too.
breaks
The
bishop
bishop
right there.
If he
Oh.
so
Because
chooses.
it's also
We-
bearing there.
This pawn gets lost in practically every version of the Sicilian I know, or reversed or otherwise. It gets swapped, it doesn't get lost, but I shouldn't say that,
Yeah,
that's
but-
not true. There's a
yeah,
closed
yeah,
Sicilian,
yeah,
all kinds
yeah,
of things.
after a couple exchanges, though, but the knight
Okay.
moves, and we have it. and
Okay, so,
That,
so do you want to,
especially after Greg castles,
right.
no, it won't be undefended. It would.
If you want to castle now, fine. I'm willing to castle now.
I'd also like to point out, after he does castle, he probably wouldn't, but he has the fork trick, the old school fork trick. Knight takes e-pawn, and then he pushes the queen pawn forward.
Oh,
Because the bishop's sitting out there now.
yeah,
I doubt he would, but he could.
Yeah, I was actually thinking.
what
See.
Eric is saying, knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, pawn here forks the knight and the
I've seen him do it.
bishop. I'm never, it may or may not, you have to be a little careful to know to what degree he can then do,
Could throw a wrench in our plans, basically.
Or if
Isn't
you
it-
move D6, but would that just slow our game down, I mean, the game down?
Yeah, it kind
think castle-
it kind of isolates
I don't
that
think
bishop
castle-
that we.
yeah,
Like,
that sort
not
of
there.
bothers me. But at any rate, if you want to
Yeah,
castle, we can play a perfectly sound game castling, or we can go the Yugoslav route. And it's good. I think that's our main sort of, if you'll excuse me, metaphysical decision at this moment.
See,
in
I'm
other words-
leaning a little bit towards castling right now.
Okay.
I'd
Do we
vote
attack or do we
Castle?
castle?
Ben, you got a vote?
How far did you want to push the queen pawn?
See, right now we're leaning towards castling. Would that
Well,
sound
either we go, if we push the queen pawn all the way up, we could still castle kingside, but I don't think so. I think basically either we castle now, in which case we have no chance of doing the Yugoslav attack, which is the soundest thing to do, I will admit that. Or
I'd rather do your Yugoslav, but what's the
that, the
current move for that?
Yugoslav starts off, at this point, you pretty much have to push this pawn, takes everything, and so on and so forth. This bishop comes up to defend the knight, all sorts of fun stuff.
Exactly right. I think that's the move.
All right.
I like
but
that one.
It's kind of 3 against 2 here, Ben,
Is
so
it?
I'm only asking for your vote. If nobody else is moving, if you want to be safe, we do it your way. Other than that, Ben and I will get the opportunity of saying, we told you so when we lose.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we
there,
lose the other way too.
Well, then you can say you told him so.
I've always enjoyed rubbing it in Ben's face. So
You're sticking. You're all sticking? Okay, let's
yes, we're
castle.
going.
Okay, we castle.
I think that's our best.
All right.
Spread word.
And you're saying we cannot push the queen pawn after that?
Oh, we can.
We can.
We can, but we can't do the Yugoslav attack. The Yugoslav attack is a queenside castle for black here.
Oh,
Ah, I see.
glad we didn't do that.
And it was considered self-working in the 1970s. In other words, black guaranteed victory. Amateurs were beating masters back then.
Right.
Yeah. Somehow or another, the cosmos shifted, and it no longer worked for amateurs. Late 80s, it got
I think
rejuvenated.
Greg will castle.
in the 70s, Bobby Fischer
Yeah.
was doing those wild.
He kind of showed everybody how to do it, but
The
he
Russians
showed
would
he
never
showed
allow.
everybody the formula, and everybody found that they could imitate the formula.
Sure.
I'm going to move it on the master board. At any rate, so Ben and I wanted the queenside castle. You get your rooks behind your pawns, you march them down on this, and Bobby Fischer said the secret is you sacrifice, you sacrifice, you sacrifice. It presumes a queenside castle for white, and basically by sacrifice, 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 he means pawns in the exchange. You don't necessarily give up entire, pieces, but basically you bust the guy, and that's how it works. So, now do we have to worry about knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, this here? And if he does that, we might be able to get him with a check or two, but basically, high.
Hi. Greg's Castle.
He castled. Okay, now let's look at that, what Eric was worried about.
Or if you move the rook over, would that just be no good?
Well, it'd probably do something. You see, I think this actually avoids the problem. Pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, pawn up, and I think there's probably something you can do about it. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll bet you can, with the queen and everything in open files, you can probably do something. But maybe not. Let's try it. Let's look at
You
everything.
might not take it, though. You probably
He would. In this case, he'd take that. This is absolutely standard, not very standard. He'd definitely take it. There. Now let's just look at this, because I don't think I'm not sure about, from this particular position, this may do extremely well.
don't lose that pawn.
Knight here, now hang on a second. Now, if you go knight takes knight, this knight can take this knight. Let's try knight takes knight, pawn here. Okay, now, there's also, this here has to be taken
No, that's bad.
pretty quickly. This here, that here, I don't think if you do this here and then, I don't think that works for black.
I don't think so, yeah.
If you lose the king pawn, that's
I
our
think so.
pawn, the king pawn, so I'd recommend to defend the king pawn
That's
by moving the rook over possibly. He might move his rook over to B1. He usually does. And then we got troubles on that. We're gonna lose that D pawn. Here, can I show you or not?
You may, but we have
Let's say
to.
he moves the rook over to B1, then he pushes the pawn to,
Well, in the
B4,
first
then he
place, it's
pushes
our move
B4,
now.
and
So
then-
what are you saying? You're saying, let's say he after we do what?
Where's his knight?
This is currently the situation,
No,
isn't it?
Where's the knight?
Oh, I'm sorry, my knight's here. Okay.
Okay, I think to defend the D pawn some way or another, like moving the rook over. I think that's really an important pawn.
Well, yeah, I know we don't want to lose the pawn. I'm not saying that.
I don't think that hurt nothing, and that would double protect that pawn.
Well, we can still do a knight takes knight, something or another takes the pawn.
Rook.
This goes up.
Oh, and still forks it.
Yes, but that doesn't necessarily
If you
a
take
bad
the rook,
thing.
You can't fork.
The
Do-
bishop was a bad move, though. That was-
I don't think so.
Well, maybe not.
Among other things, we can back it up now.
It's a good, if you keep that diagonal, it's a good diagonal.
Well, we could back up the bishop.
You could push it's too slow in development, but you could push the queen pawn out one, so the bishop got a place to retreat.
Push the queen pawn, this pawn.
No. Yeah, that one.
This
Then-
rook
then
pawn.
it's too slow in development. I still think to,
He has a place to retreat here anyways. I
So
mean,
then
this is not a bad move. It stops various aggressive moves there. How much are we...
I think that rook could be to protect the D pawn, because if he gets that, we're gonna fall. Or some way to protect it, some other way. Maybe I don't know. I'm not supposed to be helping. I'm probably not.
Yes, you are. I mean, what are you here for?
I'll just tell you what I think Greg would do.
not in itself is help, but
If he goes here... I don't know. Who's got I think your standard book is this up earlier. Now, we've left this bishop in the lurch slightly. Do we want to do something... I'm wondering if you'd almost transpose into some sort of a wing gambit here. Who has a good suggestion here?
Moving that pawn up one so the bishop can retreat. That might be
This
a good-
pawn?
Yeah, because that bishop's an
Well-
attacking bishop. Just one or two.
Well, okay. It seems to me you can retreat here anyways.
Yeah, but
Okay.
what if he throws his knight at A4 and then he's got a
Okay.
bishop?
Now,
We lose our bishop.
right. We're going to have to do... Okay, let's go.
Now that can go to B7, B8, or B7, I mean A7,
Right, okay.
in case he threatens it. And that's good, I mean, that's a good thing.
Okay, I want
The
a
bishop
theme.
actually, as it is pretty powerful.
The bishop needs to,
Yeah.
if he gets the pawn or the bishop.
Okay, well, I'll be happy with this. Okay, it's not the way I would play it, but it sort of works, and we can then,
And
and then if you want to get really defensive, we can do, we can do this here, and in that arrangement, I like this pawn
Yeah,
up,
but that might be
that
better,
up.
though.
Oh,
No, I mean, next move,
agree
later,
with
we put
giving
this
up the king
pawn
pawn.
up here, and
Don't give
that's
up the
a
king
better
pawn.
system. Okay, and then we can have sort of a closed system, and then we can wind up doing sort of a Greg type thing
Yeah.
of kind of putting this bishop up. We have to figure out how to defend this pawn along this diagonal with this
Right.
bishop. But basically, it's all doable, and we can, okay, so do we like this?
Yeah.
I don't like giving up the king pawn like that. He'll take that king pawn, won't he?
Why?
He can't right now, but if it falls, we're gonna be in trouble.
In other words, well, why can't he take it now? Because,
Because
He
our
can
knight will
take it,
take
what?
care
He
of
can
it.
take
and
it
then
right
then
now.
he forks.
With the, you slide the
Well,
rook
he
to
can
E.
do
But
that,
then you
yeah.
can back off the bishop, and
But he
after the
won't.
exchange of...
I don't think Greg will do that. If you move that pawn out and get the bishop back there.
Right, okay,
That's
but,
what,
all
that
right.
bishop is in a really sitting duck position.
Okay, alrighty,
That's my opinion.
okay.
And that stops the rook.
Okay, are we all happy with this?
No, not at all. Not a bit.
Why?
Because of what we just said, he doesn't
Because
like,
of
he doesn't like this go up.
Yeah.
He's like the knight takes followed by
If he
that.
thinks that. Well,
See,
moving the rook over.
he won't do that because...
I don't think he'll do it.
Because
but
if
moving
he
the rook
does-
over.
Well, so I'll demonstrate.
Right,
Knight takes,
right,
Knight
knight,
takes.
right,
pawn up,
right,
you back off the bishop, preserve the bishop. And after that exchange,
That's,
it's still it's a knight and a pawn for knight and a pawn, and now this bishop is breathing fire in both directions.
Oh, I
It's a lot
see.
more powerful than it was right here.
yeah.
well,
See,
I
so
don't,
he's
I don't
not
think
gonna do
that's
it right
actually,
away,
I
but-
don't,
I don't
that,
think he'll do
See,
it.
I
we
think-
still have to keep our eye on it, but he's not going to do it on this next move if we push
okay,
this pawn
I
up.
don't I think you're right in terms of his not doing it. I don't think it's right that that's necessarily a better square for the bishop.
He's gonna go real slow, and that's how he does things.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily a better square for the bishop, just because I think this is a lousy diagonal for it, and I don't think this is that great a diagonal for it. I think it's a better diagonal at the moment here. I think we might have to worry about something like
He can go
that.
here, look, he'll
Okay.
go here. He can go here, but I think.
Okay, we'll do this for the time being. And then we'll figure out how to get, then we have to figure out how to get this pawn out, and we have to figure out how to defend this, and we might as well do something nice and slow like that, because it's kind of consistent with our themes of this whole thing. So assuming,
That'd be a good idea, and then maybe move the other pawn out one too.
I'm okay with that too.
okay,
Stop.
all righty, so let's do that, all righty?
All right.
Okay, yeah, Eric will do the running. And so I hope this is all fairly clear to everybody. And like I say, we're putting a lot of, he doesn't necessarily win a piece or anything exciting by the knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, pawn up. It's just a lot of swapping of material. The question is, does it open things up in a way that are good for white or good for black or whatever? I think it's fairly neutral. It doesn't panic me, but it's something we have to keep in mind. And
I
that
think we're doing
correct?
way
Is
better
that
than
right?
last
right?
game
Yeah.
that we played.
We're doing this.
now, if we do this
No, he
pawn
does this.
here, do we want to go for some sort of a closed
This. How do
Sicilian
you save the knight?
by getting this
Back it off.
pawn
this
up,
way.
which means we have to get that
So
knight
he
out of
takes it.
there?
Take back with the
What
bishop.
if we did the queen bishop
You
pawn
take-
up one?
You've traded
And
a
it's-
pawn for a
To-
knight.
You know, to keep from getting
Which
our
is
rook
what
You're
lost.
talking about the
Instead,
queen,
please
this
move a
Yeah,
go.
no, the one that, the
Pawn for
queen
knight for
bishop
pawn for
pawn.
knight.
queen, bishop, pawn here? How does that get that bishop
I
out?
don't, but if we get it up one that blocks his bishop, we get in our rook. Because you know how
Well,
many
yeah.
rooks he gets? He's gotten thousands of rooks.
Well, yeah, but that's not, we just keep an eye on that pawn, and basically you want to let the bishop out
See.
for, you know, it's
Yeah.
not an immediate problem. The immediate problem is getting this bishop out and defending this pawn.
And defending that pawn, that we should do it if we moved it up one. And then we gotta retreat for our bishop, so it won't get trapped.
All right,
Pawn to D3.
Two.
pawn to
Hello?
D3, okay.
Uh-oh, he's doing something.
No, he's not. This is all perfectly standard book, Sicilian,
Okay.
um,
So he's playing it safe too.
right. I mean, this is, again, the dragon in reverse. The question is, if we're not going to play the Yugoslav, I hate to beat a dead horse, and it is dead now that we've kingside castled, I don't know anything about playing the dragon in reverse. Now,
It's very close, I think, for quite a while.
okay, so I say,
You wanna try that queen pawn up?
the queen pawn makes our game simple for the time being. And then what we have to do is figure out how to get
You did?
the queen pawn here, and we don't have to worry about any sort of extreme gymnastics and bishop takes knight, because pawn takes is no problem for us. There's absolutely no problem. I
You
think,
moved it up too and did a little attack and it would've
excuse
gotten
me, I thought this was the kind of thing that scared everybody, moving it up
down.
here.
We're
This was
castled,
way back
so
when.
It's way different. The bishop got a place to go. We're castled. We're safe.
Okay, we could do that now.
We're not scared about being stuck in the center.
Do you people want to do that? I was thinking, I was thinking of trying for something that I've never seen before, and that is kind of a closed Sicilian.
We can do that. We
A
can do
closed
the one
Sicilian
that's safe.
again in reverse. Everything's in reverse. I'm talking backwards, but basically trying to get this pawn up.
Yeah, and we actually would be able to get away with that because with the exchanges, and trust me, he will exchange that pawn if we push it.
Yeah.
So do you think one?
Oh yeah, he'll definitely exchange this pawn.
Do you
Yeah,
think one
I'm-
would be better?
I'm actually thinking two would be better because it would put our knight on a better square if he didn't exchange it. Again, it would allow us to push our pawn out and get an attack going.
All
Push
right.
that F pawn.
Okay, we can do this.
So
I mean, there's
I'm actually
no.
thinking this is the best time to push that D pawn too.
Okay, all the way to
If he
two
does
squares.
exchange, we have to be prepared to move our queen. If he
That'll-
swaps knights, I'm saying.
Yeah, that would prevent
Yeah,
him from getting.
yeah, he's, you know, he
We
can,
might trade queens, but
he can move this
We should
anywheres
try to
and
keep him from getting
attack
his
the,
knight outposted here.
what Eric here is saying is here, here, excuse me, here, 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 correct, Eric?
Yep.
Now, he's got an exposed attack on the queen. In other words, he can move this knight to any place. So does he have a nasty square for that knight? This doesn't work because it goes queen takes. This doesn't have an immediate threat, but basically the idea is that that is scary
That's
because he
bad.
does have a discovered attack.
yeah, it's bad for us.
Well, I
What
don't
I'm
know.
saying is,
I
if we
don't
have
see...
anywhere good to put it afterwards, and if not,
Yeah.
why bother? That's my.
Basically, you're talking about something like here
Yeah, right.
and basically there.
He'll probably go, he might go here.
I'd hate to see us put it all the way back
Usually goes
home,
here,
though.
And then,
I don't.
Yeah, putting it all the way back wouldn't be such a good idea.
Well, where do you put it?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
well,
We
that's,
see.
Do we have a good place
that's
to put
the
it?
best,
Everything blocks
that's the
something.
best place.
I think home is...
D6. See,
Over there,
D6 would be a good place, even though it blocks the bishop's retreat going one way.
No, it's
Again, that's
out.
why we played pawn to A6 so it can retreat the other way.
I don't think that's, you know, it's...
Actually, wait, no, that wouldn't be
I
such
don't
a
think
good
it's
idea,
great.
because
You know,
knight to E4. Okay, so that doesn't
I think
work
it's
either.
basically back there. And that's an option for Greg. If Greg wants to do all of that, he's got it. And there's nothing we can do about it. That whole thing was forced. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not, I have mixed feelings. I don't consider it that bad to, you know, it looks like a waste of a move, but basically you've developed, you've opened your bishop, you're fully developed, so you're not really a
Well,
waste of the move.
Okay, how are we doing on time, guys?
You can also.
Let's not worry about time quite
That's
yet.
got something to do
Then,
with what
then he's
we ought to
got,
be
you know, good
doing.
squares for that night as well.
Because I think we've
Such
used
as
half
E4.
an hour already.
Well, we probably have used half an hour already.
Let's see.
Yeah, we're sucking up time.
It goes in C3.
Okay, is that thing all up to date? Good, because
Yeah.
I've been
Okay,
sloppy with that.
Greg's got 38 minutes, and we've
Yeah,
got an
wonderful.
hour and 23 minutes.
Yeah, okay,
Just a half an hour.
right,
And we're only to here, so we got,
yeah. So, well, the thing is, things are going to get less discussed because they're going to get more defined, hopefully. So, at any rate, what should we do? Basically, here or here?
Let's see.
And what if we-
Looking a
what
little
if we
further.
move the nine-
Sure.
I am a little less sold on 2 squares.
I vote for
no, we can't
D6.
move the
I'm thinking pawn to D6 as well.
All right. I think we try playing this very anti-me. I would have done that way, as you all know, once a while
That's
ago.
very safe.
And basically, we pull this, and then we figure out how to get this pawn up, and then we can maybe have some fun. But we've got this open, we've got it solid. What can he do that's nasty here? I don't see. This is
He can do
blocked.
one thing that's very
This isn't a bad move.
He can do one
He
thing
might
that's
do
very
that.
nasty.
What's that?
He can trade off this knight and then post his knight here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Tell me. Can you tell me?
He can
He's thinking
advance his
bishop to
bishop.
I
G5.
think he's
Bishop
saying
G5.
pin.
And then he can put his knight in here, and that's bad for us. It
There.
might be better to do this.
Let's see. You can always.
And there.
Yeah, so you
can always
He's
play
absolutely
bishop.
correct.
He can do it.
Okay. So does the first move we move a pawn there?
It's really not that nasty though, because we
Yeah.
could chase it, and he can't back it up because then we get it for.
No. That's nasty.
That is bad for us. if we
No,
don't
you
have-
chase it right away though.
No. We have a move to do something like this. Before he does that, in other words, from here, well, that's
He'll
bad because he does that. Right. So.
If he pins, you chase it right away. He has to go
Yeah,
back.
but you chase it. Okay.
He'll exchange it right away and then put the knight on. He's attacking the queen and the big pawn on
You know,
C6.
he's right. There's no problem. He does this first, right?
Then we push the pawn.
That's all.
And then we immediately do this.
And then he's got to
And he'll
do something.
exchange it right away.
He might-
And
might
so
go
what?
backwards.
It doesn't hurt exchanging it. And then he comes up and then he
puts
moves,
the knight,
Yeah,
puts on the
then-
knight on the square right away.
puts it right on the square right away, and then you do that to chase it.
Not right away because the queen
No.
can be attacked.
No, true, but I mean, basically, that's the formula for getting rid of it. I mean, it's perfectly doable. Oh, if you want to do this before we do this, we can.
No.
That over
I
there,
don't know.
yeah, that's a good
That's
idea.
a good idea, too.
That I like that.
Yeah, I do, too.
You like this
That's
first?
safe.
I do,
H6
yes.
first.
It's a
Yes,
lot
it-
safer.
This is
Yes.
first move?
Yeah, because
Okay, we're doing our best to be safe here, which is fine.
That
It
is
continues
good.
along with the thing we've been going on.
Okay, first move, okay,
That's a good
okay.
strategy.
Okay.
So we got her. That's a
Okay.
good strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, again, it's
I think
again it's also in Greg-esque style.
Yeah.
So we're kind of forcing him to kind of play himself.
Surely, because it was just yesterday he said, who? I think several of us heard him say that in a closed game you preserve your knights because they can do better.
Yeah.
They can maneuver much better, and it would be exactly what he would want to do is to get rid of our knight here.
I say, let him.
Let him
I would.
take the knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Knight's not doing anything.
he could very well try getting rid of the knight by putting his knight here on one of these 2 squares. Force him to exchange that way. I mean, it's a lot less damaging than if we allowed him to go here with the bishop, but still, usually that knight by the king is
Yeah,
the
I
key
think this just
defensive
gives him a
piece.
target.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
What?
He'll peel it open.
Say again?
It gives him a target. He'll end up peeling it open eventually.
Like that?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does give him.
That's just my opinion, though, you know. That's
There's always a
what we have,
potential
though.
for that.
Well, he loves that one, yes.
Seeing,
I've never seen, he never once pinned me. He doesn't do that petty stuff.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But then again, pins are the most kind of basic
You never know. yeah.
basic attacking strategy. So no, we all know about it. So he's gonna do something else. What are we looking at, Paul?
Okay.
Yeah.
He's looking at chasing our bishop or something exciting like that. All right, basically he's doing, thank you, Miles, he's doing what looks like some sort of queenside attack. In other words, the purpose of this pawn early, well, other than compromising pawn to queen 4, is queenside attack. Now we have a good retreat square for the bishop, except that we don't want to get it totally blocked off. But basically, I think now we probably push it to here, or we could push it to there and just, when he does this and then that and blocks it off, we could, that'll work too. We could do either way. But he's certainly threatening here.
Yes. Then, see again, looking at it, I actually think if we are going to push that pawn, it should be to d5, because when he does push pawn to b4, it'll allow us the versatility to kind of coordinate the bishop where we want it to go, instead of just throwing it back in the corner and hoping that somewhere toward the end that it'll be effective.
Okay, and we can still push this pawn up. That's standard in practically all variations of the Sicilian. And again, I'm talking backwards. I should mention this is technically an English opening, which is a Sicilian in reverse. But basically, I'm for that.
Yeah. The queen? Yeah. Yeah.
At d5.
And then looking forward to getting this pawn up, and this gives black a kingside attack, and white's obviously working on a queenside attack. So I'm all for that. Everybody?
See, I'm feeling d5 too.
Incidentally, when I showed Greg this move, he said, I predicted you'd make that, which means we have him scared.
Yeah, good thinking.
Absolutely.
Yep. Good thinking.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I was just told that people can't hear me because I'm not using a mic.
Okay. Well, they now can hear the test. Okay. Is everybody unhappy with it?
Eric?
What if we,
Eric, you haven't mentioned anything.
I have an idea.
It's basically a more aggressive game, but I think we've covered our defensive problems.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right?
I think it's all right.
I have an idea. What if we move the rook over to defend the D pawn?
Okay, that works. I just thought it'd be, if we want to advance this pawn, the rook's in a perfect square. And you know, how are we going to get in?
Yeah, you're right. That's right. Or what if we retreated our bishop to A7 possibly?
He's gonna kick it back later. We might as well, you know, wait till he kicks it.
Just wait. Okay.
Not give him the satisfaction.
Yeah, or give him the satisfaction of
Okay.
kicking us. It doesn't matter.
Greg-
I
Greg
say
says-
get this thing out.
Greg says it's a good game.
Well, thank you. All right.
I'll tell him that. See,
All right.
now that we've decided on that.
Here we go.
Okay.
Does this
And
mean
he'll
we're taking-
almost certainly take it.
Does this mean we have taken the initiative? Are we aggressive?
No. No, it's not, I don't think we can say that much, but we have, he could do this before he takes it, in which case we retreat, and he could close it off, but that would give us two centered pawns.
I think we
So
better
he'll-
protect that D pawn, because if he gets up, if he...
You're talking about this
Yeah,
pawn?
no, the D one.
The E one?
That one, that's an important
This is the E pawn.
The E pawn, I'm sorry.
All right, well, okay, but, you know, basically, it's protected. It's got the knight on it, and it only has one piece attacking it.
Mm-hmm.
And if he, you know, there's nothing really wrong with this.
Mm-hmm.
But he could,
That's okay, I guess.
and we'll see.
Shocker. Pawn takes pawn.
All right. Did you tell him we predicted that? Okay.
No, he said it was.
Okay,
They said
knight
the move was a
takes
Come
no-brainer.
on, guys.
Knight takes pawn. Are you still here? Okay.
It's
No,
pawn- it's-
Your turn. No,
Actually said
we
pawn
have to take
takes.
it. We have to
All right.
take it, right? Everybody's happy with their taking it?
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. What do you think the chance would be that Greg would wipe that knight off right away, or would he wait for
swap?
something else?
Swap knights?
He might
Yes.
push the D pawn.
Zero. Chances
I
zero.
don't know.
See,
All he
no,
has to do
no
is
chance. See
move
what would Greg do if you don't think he'd swap knights here?
He would move his knight on the F file so that the bishop can take our knight. He wants to trade his bishops for our knights at this point. He wants to use his knights.
I don't know if it is the case.
He might even bring his knight all the way back to E1.
Well, he can't advance this pawn now if he doesn't take the knight. Because then we get a free knight.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah,
So-
that's right.
So the bishop.
So not only
Yeah,
was
he won't do that.
not only was this a good
If he doesn't swap, where could he
attacking
move?
move, it was a good defensive move as well because it kept our bishop on a very good square.
Greg said we're doing good, so.
Yeah.
He could move his knight.
Yeah, because he actually said that this completely shocked him
Which one?
when we pushed the pawn
Whoa.
here. He did not see that coming from us. So
Yeah. I think that was kind of a.
Did something good.
yeah,
That was kind of a.
We did something good, I should say, so you guys can hear me out there in TV land.
I don't know if it's new and strange, but I think it was. I think it was
It's-
wild and woolly.
see again as
Our game
as,
was
as
pretty
Paul has
good.
said so often, this isn't quite a Yugoslav reverse, but it's definitely got the shape and yes.
Now that other pawn can come out the F pawn if we want.
Yeah. Yeah,
He can- We don't want to do it too quick.
yeah, it depends on what Greg
Yeah,
does
what he
next.
does
on-
next.
See if he.
We gotta check time, 7 o'clock. Oh, I don't get to eat tonight.
Well,
That's
gotta eat, make the time, but
I got like 4
see
minutes
if
to go eat.
see.
I don't have time.
What are we
Okay, pawn to E3.
on to E3?
Okay,
Okay,
I
Make it-
suggest retreat the bishop.
see.
playing
Okay,
close.
he's trying to overpower and take over
It's
You're
not,
gonna
it's not,
D4.
it's no longer a great square for the bishop to be on, but I see no reason to immediately retreat it.
He might push the D pawn up one.
Yeah, he will. I mean, he's sort of looking at it.
Another pawn, maybe.
But, I mean, it's not a bad idea for us to swap pawn takes pawn there. I mean, here, he winds up with an isolated pawn. I don't see that being the end of the world. It's who's,
It'd give us something. It gives us something to focus on.
yeah, I mean, who feels it's important? I mean, I don't know what I do here. I don't know. I think I'm sort of almost into leaving this here. You want it open. You want to be able to get it out in a hurry. But basically, I don't see anything wrong with this here.
Yes, I was just looking at
The queen could
that.
go over to, the queen could go over to B3, pin in the knight.
Pinning the knight,
And
and
then he can
then
move.
then we got the bishop
Well,
there.
could. We gotta be careful.
Okay. Now, so far, this is all actually fairly book. It's not a bad idea, actually, to move this bishop here first. Now, we could do this knight here, but that sort of blocks that retreat. But that's common in terms of preventing this.
What if we just took his knight? But then that'd
That's-
put his pawns in the center for majority. That's bad.
Yeah. This knight here, I'm not mad for that. I mean, it's something that people have been looking at for a
And then
while.
we lose moves that way too.
But basically, this is a reasonably booked position, which is nice to know that we, play approximately the way the pros
Right.
play.
How about putting the C6 knight over to E7, and then with an idea of moving the, and then moving that pawn up one, the bishop pawn up one, to cover the next move. I mean, it depends what Greg does. Move the queen bishop pawn up one
Okay,
to protect the knight.
Well, if we do that, that pawn's, D pawn is,
And then we blocked his
that-
bishop off, plus we got our knight protected, and we'll have two
But-
pawns in the center.
at the moment, the e-pawn's very unprotected. That
Yeah,
we'd be
if we move
worried
that
about.
Knight, it's.
Oh,
the
no,
knight's
no,
pawn.
no, yeah, you're right. Can't do it.
Unless, we can do stuff.
Yeah.
I say,
Can't do it.
okay, now, if we let's take a look at the worst case scenario.
That
here.
might work.
How bad is,
He uncovers that bishop.
maybe the thing we should do is simply move the king first.
Yeah, move it over one maybe.
And I say to the black square rather than
Yeah.
this square.
Yeah,
Just, also gives us a chance. Now, what can he do? Because that's sort of almost a waiting move. What's he really threatening at this point? He's threatening this. He's threatening this.
no, he can't do that.
You can't push the B pawn
What if
because
he,
he'd
what if
lose
he
the
moved
knight.
his F knight?
You're right. He can't push the B pawn because he'd lose the knight.
See, right now the.
Well, he'd lose the knight. And, yeah, you're right.
You
He'd
know
lose
what?
the knight because it's
To me,
attachment.
it looks like he's gonna push the queen pawn up one.
I agree because of his prior move,
And then
right?
we're gonna
And
lose,
so
we're gonna lose that D pawn.
I like that. Pawn
might be
takes
better.
pawn takes
Yeah.
pawn. He's
You have an isolated pawn.
What if,
you got an isolated pawn. I think we're in great shape.
you think that'd be good?
That doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I'm not saying, it's, so I think I say he's probably just into, I don't think he's going to do anything dramatic, and I think he's going to wait and see
Yeah.
what we do, so let's wait to see what he does. And this doesn't really reveal any great intent on our part, even though, we know what we're doing, and,
That's a pretty good move.
okay, I think it's a pretty good move. Okay,
I'll spread the word.
wonderful.
Good, all right.
Well, Greg does that same thing a lot. Then that way we can't get pinned. At least,
All right, and
he does have one of our center pawns, so,
that's standard with this variation.
okay.
If he moves that F knight, our knight's under attack.
If he moves the F knight, our knight's under attack, right.
Yeah.
He can do stuff like knight takes pawn, but then,
Then we
we
take
could,
his knight and threaten his queen.
Yeah, we
and
win
then
that
we
one.
take that one.
well,
we
he
win.
just,
We'd
it's,
win.
it's sloppy. It's very sloppy.
That's a good observation, though.
It is sloppy, but you know what? He might actually win.
He might put it all the way back to the E1, yeah.
Because he's got a nasty
Greg's
fork.
taking
He's
time
like-
to move.
He
I
could
mean,
fork.
did Greg move yet? He didn't, did he?
No,
Okay.
this is the
Yeah,
situation.
we're doing good if he's taking that long to move.
If his knight takes pawn, we're under attack 3 different ways.
If his knight takes the
E
pawn,
pawn. He threatens the fork. I mean, he's also threatening the knight, but he threatens the fork immediately afterwards if we respond to it.
well, I don't know. I say we just go knight takes knight and let him take the other knight, and then we can kick it back and take this pawn. That's what it
Queen
looks like to
to,
me.
C2. You hit the clock back, I think.
Yes, I got it.
No, it's backwards. Of course, it's supposed to be down here. We move.
Okay, queen to c2.
You understand?
Queen to...
I don't know what happened.
Queen to c2.
The clock got screwed up.
Okay. Alrighty. That could be.
The bishop, our bishop. See, that bishop needs some-
Yeah.
Definitely eyeing the bishop from afar.
He can go here, double hit the bishop, and that bishop could be back there, safe.
Well, okay.
I don't know for sure
He
if
moves there, well, in the first place, the pawn up here would solve it. If he goes here,
No, he has a free knight move now because of the bishop. You see, if he moves
Yeah.
his knight, then our
I see
bishop's in
that.
danger.
Okay, but, so we move the bishop. But I say, I mean, we could move the bishop now, but again, I don't, you know, I don't see him having a great square to put the knight that's worth anything. I mean, I say we can move the pawn up here and,
That's a good idea, too. That's a good idea,
That's
too.
what we were planning before.
Yeah.
yeah, or,
Because if he puts his knight on
We're
A4
gonna-
to avoid the
We're gonna,
to avoid
you
the
know,
pawn.
see what, he's got this here, and he's got this
Yeah.
here, and it's aimed at here, it's aimed
Right.
at here. This
Right.
is aimed at here,
If he
so the
does
same
that.
things for here.
right, he's aiming a lot at the center, this is true, but we've got a pretty good center, I think.
He's kind of restricting
Bishop's okay
himself.
there, where
I don't see anything you can do
it's
that's,
an unprotected piece.
I'm well aware of that, you know, and we can do stuff about that if you want to protect it. Or we can either that or move it. I kind of like it where it is because we have options in terms of where to put it. We've got great things of where to put it. And, you know, if you want to move it back here, great. But basically,
Shouldn't until we have to, because it's great where it is right now.
I think it's great where it is.
Okay.
And he's only got 2 squares he can, you know, or he can go here, I guess, and get a free move there. But, you know, I tend to think we either move a pawn up here
That might
as
be
we
the best for
expected,
being aggressive.
or we, or we move this knight here, which is not a crazy move, because that's where it usually sort of winds up in the Sicilian. Again,
Yeah,
thinking
but
back-
it blocks our bishop in the,
That's true, it blocks that thing. So let's, okay.
I'm
If we do
thinking
here,
move the
what can
pawn.
he do that's nasty? What can he do that's nasty here?
he could still move his knight in front of the pawn, but then if we took his knight and took his other
See,
knight, then
knight
he could
takes
get our
knight,
bishop.
queen takes knight, defends the
Yeah.
bishop.
That's why he's so...
Knight takes knight, queen takes knight. Can he, oh, that's actually pretty nasty. Knight takes knight, queen takes knight. Now he can move this.
But there's no place to move it to. Uh-oh. If he went here, see, and then his queen, he might be thinking of that for later, but
This is kind of good because knight takes, knight, queen. I don't like having to get my queen up there. I'm wondering if we shouldn't precede it with this.
what if we put it on the king side, or no, would it block it in?
It blocks the pawn, which is the
Yeah,
whole idea.
okay. What if
Here
we
it
put it
does
on-
block the bishop, but the thing is,
What if we put the knight on, you know, like E7? That knight on E7, would that do any good? Because then it'd double protect that. Yeah, like there. And then you push the pawn and you've got it protected by the bishop and the knight and the rook. So that'd be an awesome, that might work, I don't know. What do you think?
it's very doable. I just don't know if
I
it's
don't want that
necessary.
knight on E4. I really don't want that knight on E4.
I'm sorry.
Even if our bishop gets away, that
This
knight's
knight?
way too powerful. Yeah.
This knight on E4.
Yeah.
Well, what if he moves the knight on E4 now, and we just immediately then move this up with tempo?
Yeah, we gain a
He'll
tempo.
take our bishop.
Yeah, the bishop's still hanging.
Oh, of course. I'm being stupid.
He still has knight takes e-pawn.
I think moving the knight would be a good idea.
good
Back
idea.
to-
Good idea.
Then move the pawn out, but I don't.
Okay, maybe we should move this bishop back here, just to, where are we, here? Just for the time being, we move this back, just to protect ourselves from complications. And, you know, as Eric says, this knight takes pawn is still a complication we have to think about.
Eventually you're gonna,
Yeah, and then not only that, the d-knight is also under attack at the same time, if he does that.
The D knight.
And that actually create a lot more
and here's
complications.
another
Yeah,
thing.
that's-
Now,
What scares me about the D
now you
knight,
Take this.
If
and
he does
then-
that-
And then this knight, he.
what scares me about this is this queen knight is then in problem. So I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
got, okay, what?
I vote we move the bishop.
Right now, if he, no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Okay, so, We still have to worry about knight takes knight, queen takes, and then we got problems with this, but I don't think there's anything that we can't handle.
We got to also watch our rook there on A1, because
So
that rook
I
could
think,
get
you know,
lost.
under the circumstances, I think we do that, or something like it, unless somebody else says something smart. And we, you know, well, soon I want to get this pawn up. I'd like to do something, you know, that puts some pressure on him. Okay. Hi, I'm sorry, your name, are you here?
I'm Wolf.
Wolf, okay. Wolf has joined us.
Lend a hand here.
Good, thank you. Okay, so, okay, you want to do that? All right. All right.
Got a very bad feeling about that.
And
That saves a lot of trouble, I think.
Greg's in a lot of trouble after.
No, I said it saves us a lot of trouble.
That saves us a lot of trouble. That's true also. And
Because now,
let's see, and I'm thinking. May not. Thinking he will exchange knights next. May not do the discovered attack right away, but
Right, but we should be prepared to.
The rooks are,
Yeah.
he's
Move
got to
the
get his
queen.
rooks developed, we got to get ours developed. And ours will be developed if we move that pawn.
yeah.
And that rook on A1 there is a candidate to get lost if we don't watch it, because Greg's gotten like thousands and thousands, 10,000s of them, because of the bishop on B2. No, B7. Wonder what Greg's gonna, we'll see what Greg does.
Yeah. And
You don't think he pushed the D pawn, do you?
this is the.
that really wouldn't work out for him.
He might though. Well, the bishop's gone now, so
Oh,
that's
we
good.
do have that bishop on there too.
Yeah, our bishop's gone now.
That's right.
Yeah, but still watching that, so he's definitely not going to push the pawn.
No, you're
Not,
right.
not the queen here
He's-
anymore.
I bet he would have moved that pawn. See, the queen's protecting the knight now, and he might have pushed B to B4 and made us move our bishop, you know, for an attack. He might have done that. But now our bishop's gone, so he can't. That might be why he put
But it
the
slows
queen
getting
there.
his bishop out of
Yeah.
this.
But he may just push that pawn anyway to restrict our mobility here.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's why he'll
now
try to squeeze us.
we're trying to get attack over here, but somehow all our pieces have ended up over here.
He's gonna be looking at the rook, too. He does that. Yeah, I know, that's why the knight back would be a good, maybe it'd be a good move.
Yeah.
No, it's a bad move because
Oh.
then the D pawn gets lost. You see, or the E pawn gets
He
lost.
said he wasn't going to speak.
Yeah.
We got one pawn out there, he's got two.
And then
That's
he
not good.
immediately started talking.
Know that.
I don't think we should leave it there all day anyway.
The operator told
Well,
him
it's in a,
we could hear
if
him
he,
because he didn't have a mic. So he came back out.
we gotta keep that knight there. I think he was gonna try to get rid of the knight somehow and then get the D. I think he's trying to get that pawn, the E pawn. And he can do it if he gets rid of that knight. You know, or
You know what I'd do here?
C6 knight.
That'd be bad though, wouldn't it?
This is exciting.
That's very exciting.
What did you think about?
So I just liked it because of, you know, natural development. It'd definitely wreck his pawn structure if we push that pawn again.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And it's more of a, see, it wouldn't really be weak because that bishop's filling in everything else. You have to force an exchange of bishops.
Wouldn't really wreck it all that.
Places to go?
This is exciting chess, guys.
Yeah, you could
Chess at its
just
finest.
sit right here for a long time.
Absolutely.
Actually, it would wreck it that
Get your
bad.
mug on TV, it'd be good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Big hole right there, and
It's okay.
yeah. It felt like the time was right to push that pawn the
Well, if
last
we don't do
move.
it now,
So
we might not be able to.
What have you been doing today?
yeah. So you're saying we might have thrown away our only chance to get pressure?
Well, it's still there, isn't it?
It still is.
Okay, queen's rook to B1.
Rook to B1. Okay, we've discussed this about coming
Yeah,
up several
He's
times.
gonna be coming down here, and that's what he does.
We can,
Thank you.
can let him.
Yeah, well, we can't let him smugly, but I think we have to, if you want to, in other words, he moves this up, we can move this pawn up.
Consider moving our rook over there on A1 because he can get that, hit it. The knight's gonna be unprotected if we don't be careful. I think move
As long as this knight's
the knight
here,
on
there's no
A1.
problem.
I've seen him do this about a million
Yeah,
times.
I'm glad, but, I don't see any immediate problems in
No.
this position. In other words, if he does this,
Yeah.
we have to respond to it, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
If
I
we
think we move this.
Yeah, there, see the rook getting in more and
Yeah.
more danger all the time?
No, it's
knight-
not the rook, it's the knight that's now the problem.
No, you've got,
Because the knight's unprotected.
this knight, the rook.
Yeah.
See?
So
This
he
pawn
does,
is the only thing protecting it.
okay.
And-
So
and-
I don't see, even
he'll be
this is
doing
not, I believe you, but the point
Okay.
is that there's a limited number of, we've got time. In
Yeah.
other words, I think we can probably get away with this.
Oh, you could, yeah.
Okay, and now I think this is an excellent time to do this. And then if he does this, let's assume,
What if he moves his knight to A4? Knight to A4.
now
Not
or
that one, but
before.
the other one. Over here.
This is
This
I
knight.
think he's talking about knight to
This-
H4.
Knight to H4. H4.
H4.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, in other words, here.
Yeah, if he was to do that.
Okay, threatening there. Okay, is that a big problem?
Well, it is.
Oh yes.
See the
Well, I
bishop?
mean, we don't want him to move there, but I
Okay, wait a minute.
mean, moving here, I don't think is an immediate is it? Yeah, okay.
He's after that.
Develop the light square bishop to protect it. Protect the knight.
That could be a real,
What Eric, you're saying this here? Or are you saying something
Well,
else?
if he was to move
No.
and uncover his bishop, then we could just naturally develop to protect it.
I'm thinking more and more, I'm thinking that now this is an excellent move, because among other things, it covers this square.
that might even be better, yeah.
And
Good.
it double
Yeah.
protects this, it permits us to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah. No, except for there's still two on it, the bishop and the queen is on that square. And he's got it covered by one thing, you see?
No, but in order to attack this, he's got to move stuff.
And the rook's right behind it. The rook's in danger. It's
Yeah.
like X-ray vision, is what Greg says in
Yeah,
that.
thank you, but I mean, I don't.
Moving the
we have
rook over.
time. We have real time, because he's going to have to move this.
Okay, watch. You want to see
In
what?
order to
Okay,
double attack
watch.
that.
I take this. I lose a knight. Right?
All right,
There goes the rook.
okay,
See, and
Okay.
we're playing. That's on a slippery.
all right, hang on. But this isn't up yet. He's got
Yeah,
to move
right.
this to make us move that. And so let's get into the exact position. Where are we? Here?
We're right here, right now.
Okay.
And here. What if this one went back, and then this?
Hold
Wouldn't
it,
that
hold
be
it.
about a lot better?
Well, let's not do too much at once here. Let's put it
There.
here. Okay. Now, I say if he moves here, right? Okay. Now we're saying if here, I think we can still leave this. I think we can just move here. I think this is still sound.
That's a nice idea if that's what had happened.
I'm good with that too, because I want to move that knight really bad.
So you want to move this knight?
Yeah, I want to do exactly what you're showing right there.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So.
I'd like to move this only because he could double our pawns
D
on
knight to E7.
C file if he really wanted
The
to.
D knight here,
Yeah, that one's
the
the best.
E7 here.
If he really wanted to, he could.
That's the best one to move.
Right.
Yeah, because
This is awkward. This leaves this attacked and double attacked if you big undiscovered attacks. So this is correct. I mean, what got confusing was that we moved this up while this pawn was still back and that kind of junk. But in the real situation, this is a perfect move.
I think it's great.
Okay.
Keeps the
Okay, the
fence
only problem with this is that we have to wait another move before we advance that.
Oh, we'll get it.
Takes away all his targets, though.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
are you into
Yep,
running? Okay, oh, I'm sorry, alrighty.
Okay, well, I'm not doing that.
Okay, I guess the confusion came from my prematurely moving this with that still back and this kind of thing. Because he's going to have to do several moves at once before he does these, 40 million discovered attacks. So basically and at any rate, Wolf, you got to start voting if you're, I'm sorry, I've been asking everybody to get their bid in, and I haven't asked you because
right.
you, whatever, right.
A little late, sorry.
All right, okay.
Great.
Your opinion counts with us, buddy.
I think Greg's got 23 minutes and we got an hour and 18 minutes.
Well, okay, we just have to keep talking as rapidly as
All right, this
possible.
clock is obviously out of
'Cause,
sync.
yeah, they can't help that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely hopeless. I mean, we need some electronic hookup. It's the only way to do it. And it just isn't going to happen.
I like the situation that we're in now because we haven't weakened ourselves by
Yeah, we're
by
pretty
doing
safe
anything
there.
silly.
Yeah, I think we took a lot of targets away by moving that knight.
Yeah.
Now, what have we done wrong? This
Wrong.
bishop is
The
not
knight.
necessarily on the great diagonal anymore, but
It is for later.
in order to do this, he's going to lose a pawn. We've got square too well covered because of that bishop.
That A1.
This is going to stink. He can't move that pawn up. So basically, we've given him, hopefully, a semi-backwards game. He's not going to be able to get a white bishop behind his white queen to go zip mate there. He's basically working on a queenside attack.
Right, that's why the
Exactly.
rook is on B1.
That's what he
Getting our
does.
rook out
should
of
not take that.
A1 is a good idea.
Met the needs of your position.
The time is getting sooner for that.
Greg knows how to get 'em.
It's getting sooner for that.
We know he's gonna push that pawn next. I think maybe we should push that pawn and look at it from that perspective.
I think you're right. Okay.
Don't push- If you push our B pawn, we got a knight and a rook in danger.
Well, the knight's protected. That was the reason we moved there.
Well, it's still in the.
And the advantage of this
This guy's unprotected.
is that it stops the advance of this so he doesn't get an exposed attack on the rook. Now, what you're right, if we do this now, he can now do something like knight takes knight, knight
Yeah.
takes knight, bishop. So,
We should.
basically, he goes here, and this is no big deal immediately because we can just take it.
Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't bother me a whole lot.
he won't do that, he'll back.
Well, it's not like it's an easy decision.
He might-
But what we can do is within this sort of, if he does this immediately,
Maybe move
you're
the
right.
rook.
We have to handle this. We have to do either this.
We
That's
should
not a
start
bad
preparing
move.
for it anyway.
And that saves the rook, so.
Yeah, and do we want to get our bishop, this bishop, on this diagonal, the long diagonal facing
That
his,
might be really good.
or do we want to go immediately to
I think we want to go
something?
B,
I think we want to do something like,
G4 and take the
Push
knight
the
out.
F pawn?
yeah, I think we want to
Maybe-
push the
I
F
think
pawn.
protect our rook before we start trying.
But
to
this
attack.
doesn't bother me. If he does this and that, and let's assume he takes with the
The knight probably.
with.
Yeah, the knight and then our bishop's gone, so that's bad for us.
Yeah, but it's not really doing anything anyway.
It will at the end of the game if we make it that long. See, it's aimed right down the king's side. I mean, right down over here on where he's castled. It's a really powerful piece.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially if we push that F pawn and start breaking down his pawn structure. It'll come in handy later.
Okay, so he
Yeah.
goes here, and what?
Just move it over. Oh,
Move it over,
either
and
that
he
or-
goes here.
He won't.
Gentlemen?
He won't do that. I don't think.
I have good news and bad news.
What's
He
that?
resigned.
Good. Not that good news.
Greg. Oh, I thought. Oh, okay.
He very much praised. See, he very much praised our last move. He actually wrote an exclamation point in his own little notations there.
Good,
So,
good.
congratulations, made a very good move.
All right,
The bad news is he moved his rook to E1.
E1. Okay, that's
Okay.
good. That gives us some time
not
to
bad.
sweat out better, because that's not...
That's not bad at all. He
Okay,
developed his
now I
rook.
don't, now I think it's a no-brainer. If you'll excuse me, I think we move that pawn out.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. I agree too.
Okay, let's be a little careful with this times right. But
I want to move the rook over it because we can lose that rook.
yeah, I know we can, but we don't have to worry about it immediately. We should have several moves to get out of it. So let's put some pressure on him with that.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty, you want...
This is going to start it.
Now,
That one?
Yeah.
take this one down and.
We're doing the king-side attack, he's doing the queen-side attack. It's
No.
it's gonna be
Well,
very
actually,
hairy here
I actually
in a
think
minute.
with that last move, we've kind of spread out as pieces now. So, and all of ours are aiming or starting to aim in the right direction. Our rook's starting to take over the F file. Both our bishops are aimed at the king. Our knights are
Do you agree with this, Eric?
aiming in the right direction. So, yeah, I actually think
I'm
that
pretty happy with the way it turned out.
we're at the very least a little better here.
We are
I'm not gonna.
good.
I
No,
do agree
we're-
with Dale
we're
a
not
bit,
gonna-
though. I think we should move that rook pretty soon.
We're doing good, but we got to be careful.
Yes, very, very careful. I'm sure at one point all of us were up against Greg and only
Yeah.
to blow it. Stuff like
Yeah,
He's got an advantage right now.
I think we do, and then Greg will be pushing pawns, I bet, to get rid of our pawns, but we'll see what happens. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know. And we do have to get that rook out of there, out of the corner. And the bishop's blocking the rook. If we move the bishop, then the pawn's not safe, but the rook could move over further, maybe. I don't know.
I say
Yeah,
if he pushes his
there's a
deep
lot
pawn,
there's a lot of things that have to happen.
move it. Move the rook, you know.
If we push our way?
If he goes ahead and starts doing all that, I think
Yeah, I totally agree with
Yeah,
that,
there-
because he's looking for that
Yeah,
rook.
there's a lot that has to happen, and more importantly, a lot of things that we wouldn't have to see.
It can happen
that-
in a
that-
few moves, though. You know, I've seen it happen and just boom, boom, and then it's gone. You know, boom, 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 and it's
Yeah,
gone.
but we wouldn't see. It would have to be us not seeing it coming.
Yeah,
we're-
and I haven't seen it coming. I've
we're-
played with them.
No, grand patches we all may be, we're a little smarter than that.
Don't bet on it. There is about, six of us in here against Greg, so we can see more than
Yeah.
just one or two people. This is exciting chess.
Yeah,
Chess at its finest. We're
Chess
doing
at
so good this game.
yeah.
And for Greg to give an exclamation point is that made it the whole night worth it. on one move.
Even if you lose in the next 5 moves,
Yeah, we got the
say we
exclamation
So we
point.
got an exclamation point out of Greg. Greg is very confident because, well, he has a right to be, but of course he's in a very bantering stage, and I think I put that on him. So, everyone at home, if you end up playing Greg at chess and he gets to you with his banter, I'm sorry, I got him into that phase, and please don't kill me. But everyone's gone. All right, what is the verdict?
Oh, God, we're in so much trouble.
On to B4.
All right, that's sort of what we expected. Now,
We're playing right into his hands for that bishop. We are. That just cut his bishop right into the game. Look at this. He's going to sacrifice this bishop.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
He's going to sacrifice that dark bishop probably in the next 3 or 4 moves.
How's that?
Well, he's just going to take that H-pawn.
No.
Okay, on the official clock, there's 20 minutes
yeah.
for Greg and 1 hour and 13 minutes for us.
Right.
Greg had 30-some minutes for him,
Right,
so he's reset his clock.
lovely. Now,
See,
If-
kind of, Eric Dale and I came to the agreement that if he did that, then we would end up moving that rook, moving
rook here?
To B8, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That pretty much
The
takes
only
away all
trouble, see
his...
here, this.
Yeah, that's
this could get
non-dependent.
lost. Just see, it
Right.
can't go back, but watch.
All right.
Can
So
that
he
get
does
lost?
this, and now he does this, and now we
I
have,
don't think he
well,
might. Oh, yeah, he might.
then he does this, and the knight takes, how big a threat is the knight takes after pawn takes pawn? Or do we just ignore it and do something like,
No, the knight, our knight. No, see this pawn here?
yeah,
We
We're-
gotta
we're
defend
still
this.
tied down to that.
We've gotta defend that thing.
okay,
And he's looking at it, you know? Is it his move?
right. If we move there, it's his
We
move,
gotta do this because of this.
right.
And if he'll go, he might go here and then here, but then this pawn gotta get, we could go here, but it's gotta get protected somehow.
Okay, well, if we do an immediate,
Well, this is here still.
well, no, let's look at this, okay?
Yeah, that's a good idea,
Right.
maybe.
Well, it may not be, let's
No,
look at it.
maybe.
And then he does this.
He won't, I don't think he'll do that. though.
Well, I like the way this works. Knight takes, knight takes there.
I think he'll move the A pawn up one more before he does that. He always does things,
Yeah,
you know,
well, let's look at what's, best for him. That looks like it's fairly good for white, if you ask me.
yeah.
Um,
So we couldn't take the pawn though. We'd have to move our knight and then we lose our A pawn. See, then we
no,
lose this one.
yeah, I see that.
We gotta watch. Here's a move here.
Well, it's not crazy.
I know. That's why it was there for in the
And-
first place, to get over here maybe.
Yeah,
Well-
for defense, but no, since he's not on H4 yet, no. Who's
I
to say
also
we can't
like-
go there?
Well, here's another trouble. If the rook's here, then he can take this one, and then if we take it, then he can take our rook, later. That's another.
Well, the rook's
So-
temporarily defended by the bishop.
So did we move our rook over?
No, we haven't yet. We're
Okay.
looking at the various stuff.
Okay.
I like
See,
the
let's-
idea of the rook over, and then we could just simply move the bishop if he does this, and then knight takes
Or
pawn.
just move the pawn down too. That'd work too, and then our bishop would be safe forever. And,
Yeah. See,
and then the
that's-
other bishop could get where that pawn, move the B7 pawn to. If he, but what he'll do, he won't do this, I bet you. He might, but what he'll do is probably this.
Okay.
That's what I think. And then he
Alright,
can
hang
do
on a
this
sec.
like
So, yeah.
that.
I like
Okay, if you do this,
No, not now.
yeah, okay, all right.
It's
What
like
if,
saying, hey, come get me.
right, okay, hang on a sec.
The rook first.
What was the last move?
I believe-
Pawn to B4.
Yeah, he drove that pawn forward.
Move the rook first to save the rook. We might lose something here.
Okay, we go there, and then he does
No, he
that.
won't do that.
Well, let's assume he does.
He won't.
Okay, how
Just go
bad?
past it. Go past it. Don't, oh no, you can't tonight.
Oh, do you-
You're right. You're right. But he won't do that.
How good is that for him? How rotten is that for
Then
us?
we move our bishop up
One
We're
square.
already here?
one or two.
We're already here?
I think that's okay.
That one,
Yeah,
that,
but
I don't think that's a problem.
I don't think that's gonna happen. That'd be okay, but I don't think it'll happen.
Okay.
just did this and it's our turn.
He'll move the pawn, the A pawn, and then we got to worry.
Why aren't we driving the pawn forward there?
Here?
Yeah.
Because of the rook.
Because, in other words, here. This is the situation as it stands.
Yeah.
And if we move this here, we have to worry about knight takes pawn, and then knight takes knight, bishop takes
Oh,
rook.
okay, yeah, I see.
Okay.
Move the rook over.
Wouldn't have to worry about it. He'd do
Let's
it.
vote on it. We're running out, we're spending way too much time on this.
Okay,
Simple
so
move.
rook over now,
Does everybody
and
agree?
what's the downside to this?
The bishop might be in a
And
bad.
then he does
Yeah.
this, assume.
Then we can push the pawn out too. If we want.
Now do we push the pawn, or do we just,
We gotta do something. But-
thank you. But,
We gotta make the move though. We're gonna be out of time, like last time. If that's the move, then that ought to be the move.
All right, let's just plain move the rook, and then we'll
I like
fret,
it. Let's move that around.
fret stuff later.
That'll stop
Okay.
the bishop from getting.
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt, but it's we're making moves because we're trying to anticipate the weather. He's pushing us around. He's forcing us to move that. Just because.
Well, it's a good move for us, though, because otherwise his bishop might get it.
Then this knight's useless. And
That's one rook that bishop isn't going to get this game. At least I hope so.
queenside attack's less dangerous now.
Yeah, but his kingside attack is looking really good already.
Okay, Dale was right, he moved the A pawn.
Okay, now we can move the
Sneak attack.
move the B pawn down too. Don't let him push move it too. Don't let him push his B pawn up one, and then leave it there. And then if he takes it, you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's a no.
No, he'll either push his up one or nothing, or not even do nothing.
Okay, that to me makes sense. I think we're almost forced into that.
And you see how we've saved our rook?
Yeah,
Otherwise, that rook could be rook meat, not horse meat,
Right.
rook meat. Okay. So you guys agree with this move or not?
Pushing our b pawn.
yeah.
I think it stops his queenside attack pretty well.
For
Well,
the time being, it allows
Yeah.
us to get the time for us to get something going on the king.
Yeah, and he'll
Well-
walk right down and get a queen.
Yeah.
He does that.
That way we
So-
can pressure initiative on the F file like we were planning
So
earlier.
did we do it?
yeah.
Okay.
How far to push it? Twice or once? Twice?
Twice.
Twice.
Otherwise, we block this bishop.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some more activity out of that bishop, and I'm not exactly sure how to do it.
It's tough.
Well, I think we might, if we push this pawn, which looks like a bad pawn to push, then pawn takes, and we've got,
Then it's on the right diagonal.
Pawn takes
Pawn
pawn.
Yeah.
takes pawn.
Pawn takes pawn.
okay, pawn takes pawn. Now,
No, I'd say we take it
It's
with
soldiers.
our pawn.
yeah, that's
'Cause
probably
if
the
the rook takes
best.
it, see the knight,
Right.
and he might be trying to come down here then. That's
Right,
okay.
now
though.
we have to take it with the pawn.
Okay, let's do it and get back to him.
All right.
Everybody agree or not? Anything wrong with that?
Agree.
We're not sure us on that one.
We gotta do it.
Okay, let's get the official board is really a mess. I mean, not that I should care, but,
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
You want me to do it or not? Or the other guy was doing it, but
Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't that bad a mess. Maybe I was overly rude. It's just that it looked like there.
It's the same.
Very bizarre. Well, I thought there was some two white pawns on top of each other there. It doesn't matter.
he's doing a good job.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
I apologize.
Greg might do this. He might do this.
Well, that's no big deal for the time being.
See, look, aren't we glad we moved our king over?
Yes, yes.
She's checked.
Yeah.
If he was to push his d pawn, we lose our
Look,
F pawn push.
this defends this. But this can go here too, if we have to.
If he moves his D pawn, I don't think we're in that bad shape because we've got a lot of pieces on it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
See?
Yeah, I see that.
He won't do that.
I don't think he can.
Oh, okay, you're right.
But
Right.
what I'm sort of looking forward to, I think.
I think he's going to move his bishop or his rook. He might move his bishop here. That'd be a good move to threaten this D pawn. See?
Yes.
Then he's got this, and then he can move this wherever he wants.
Yeah.
That's a great move.
What do you see, Ben?
I see everything coming at my king. I'm very scared.
Oh, no. We got a good game going.
Right.
I think so.
I think so far, basically, you're right.
This is way better than last time. He won't move the rook because then we could take the pawn. You see with our knight. No, yeah. No, then we lose the D pawn. See, we can't. Oh, man, that pawn's been...
And I don't know if we want to actually do this.
Oh, we're about to lose a knight, man.
No, we got it. defended.
No, I don't
We
think
it.
we've got
We
it. I don't-
gotta get that knight out of there, but you don't see our knight? This knight here, that's a good idea. Or here, but I think here's, but see that it defends this. That's a
Yeah.
good idea too. See what Greg does now. Greg's got 20 minutes left.
So what's the next idea?
Well, I was thinking of getting this on a diagonal that challenges his bishop one-on-one.
That leaves that pawn unprotected. Is that all right?
This pawn. This pawn I don't see him going after.
No, if we move our bishop on the b file, our b pawn is unprotected.
You're talking about this pawn,
Yeah.
unprotected. You're
If-
absolutely correct.
If you move, I don't know how dangerous that is for us, but
That's very
Well,
dangerous, yes.
Yeah, well,
probably annoying enough.
Because if the knight...
it may not be bad. It may be a little trap. Maybe he takes it, we go here, because then he can take the bishop, or... But then I was thinking we have a lot of muscle coming down on that pawn. Let's keep it in
All
mind.
right. He's played queen to b3.
Queen to b3.
Yeah, I thought that, see,
Yeah,
and he's got it lined up here.
right.
No, that's bad. I'm talking too close into the mic. Let's see, what else could we do now?
Is there a pawn unprotected, a D pawn? Did he leave his D
I
pawn?
Our D
think-
pawn, we gotta watch that D pawn. We ought to try to,
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
It's unprotected right now.
which one?
The d pawn's actually unprotected right now. Could swipe it off.
No, he's
you
got
can't.
the
If he
knight.
slides the rook
The knight's
over.
there.
He slides the rook over.
The knight's there too.
Where's the
What are
queen
we
gonna go?
talking about here? We're
No.
talking about queen takes this, then
Oh.
he does knight takes pawn. What does he do to get rid of that? He could just move here. It could be.
That's bad. That is bad. That's bad. Don't
Yeah.
do
Wants to
that.
go after that.
Whatever you
Okay.
do, don't do that.
Okay.
That is a poison pawn,
Right.
and that pawn is flying the
Okay.
Jolly Roger.
So
Well, he must be chuckling. I've already put a note. I bet he put a note on his.
I say
If we
no.
did that, we'd either lose the.
I'll
Hey,
take
does
that.
anybody have a pirate flag?
We need
A what?
A pirate flag for put on that
okay,
pawn
hey,
there.
after we get.
The skull and
Hey,
crossbones.
excuse me. We're trying to talk here. How about here? Because it has various advantages with this, picking up tempos and helping stuff. Or does somebody have any kind
That's
of
a pretty
idea?
good idea. Or get the bishop into B7 and try to trade bishops or something. We won't be able to though, because we'll lose that pawn. Don't take no poison pawns.
Thank you. But
Yeah, move our bishop somewhere. And not
I
on,
like our bishop coming to here, but I don't know if I like having to do it with all that geometry that I just went through.
we can't,
If we do something along the lines, we could do it with the queen out here first. I like the idea of getting our rooks together,
that's,
and then followed with the bishop.
that might be
here.
a good idea. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good move.
Allows us to push our F
Look at,
pawn and try and rip open.
he can't threaten it. That's a good, I think it's a good move.
Well, if we push
And
that,
then this here,
knight can
see?
swoop in and threaten the queen after that.
Sorry, Eric?
If
I was discussing the possibility of
I'm
pushing
sorry.
the F pawn.
if the
I was
queen's
just-
on d6 and you push the f pawn, his knight could swoop to e4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
No,
thinking the
don't,
idea
don't,
of pushing this to try and rip open this little fortress he has here.
I was thinking
'Cause I was
the same
thinking-
thing, but not quite immediately.
Yeah, we're not quite ready yet.
Because he's just playing, he's got, unfortunately, his set of threats too.
The queen's good where you put it.
I like where the queen is now.
It really
And I
is.
think, the bishop here permits a knight here. It permits all sorts of fun stuff.
No poison pawns tonight, Greg.
for,
Watch the semantic talk. They'll change
boy,
this all.
oh boy.
And I don't know,
Okay.
because this stuff starts getting pinned,
No.
if this starts getting open.
This can go here,
Yes.
and this can go over
Okay, so
somewhere.
queen here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Dale, in as much as you like going there anyways, why don't you do the running? Just hit his clock as you pass.
Me?
Yeah.
I can't really do it.
Well, you wind up doing it all the time. I mean, even when you're not the runner. I mean, he's there.
So we,
Yeah.
so we move the queen.
The
queen's here now?
Yeah, the queen's there. Right. You're right. You're right.
I didn't see that
Right.
one. I didn't see
Okay.
that one right away.
Right. But basically,
something I
our
wanna think
immediate
about.
I don't
move is
remember
here.
the move. Okay.
Yeah, our immediate move is the bishop there. That's the reason for the queen there. And that gets our rooks together. It gets us into a normal game. We're getting frustrated because we're not getting in a normal game, I think. And I think after we get the bishop out, right to there, I think we got ourselves a normal game. As a matter of fact, I almost wanted that way earlier before we moved the king over. I kind of like having the bishop there before we moved the pawn up. But somehow or another it didn't
Or
work
even this.
because we couldn't decide to put this pawn up and over. I think
knights
that
right
just
there.
sort of weirded
It is?
out.
Oh, yeah.
At any rate, let's,
Let's see. Bishop's still at home.
It's hard to
Here,
have
I'll show you what he
all
did,
at
and
once.
it's pretty much a no-brainer. And then move here.
all right, well, it can
Rook
stay
back to
there
A1.
temporarily. Yeah, I see that, but they're
Yeah.
covered with a knight.
Yeah, but we gotta defend things.
Right,
That's a bad defense.
okay.
If something happens.
Right, I agree with you, but is there anything wrong with doing
Well, I
this
don't know.
immediately?
No, that's,
What was his move?
that's okay.
Rook to
too.
A1.
Yeah, you're right,
Just
That's
attacking the
better.
bishop.
That, like we-
Bishop's defended
yeah,
by the knight.
That's
now.
better.
Yeah.
For now.
He may
If you
overload
threaten
it.
this queen, he has to move it. So
Okay,
it's a better move.
so we move there, and...
Maybe it's better, maybe it isn't better.
And I like that for several reasons. It basically, it grabs this square with muscle.
Where can he move to, though? What can he do? You know,
Well, I don't think he's going to go there, because
and our bishops
doubly
are dead.
attacking the bishop with the queen is absolutely
What if
meaningless.
he took two bishops for a queen?
What are you talking about?
Oh, he
If
won't
he
do
took
that.
this one, and then he takes this one, he might, he could do it.
Sounds
He
Oh, then
takes
get
this one,
we
yeah,
get
but he
this,
gets
then he
nothing.
gets this.
Yeah,
And this position's starting to open up a little
Okay,
bit.
is this
And having-
good, guys?
okay, thank you.
Everybody happy?
Bishop,
Bishop to
E3, E6,
E6.
E6.
Yeah.
I used to be a pleasant person. Okay. And I don't think he's got a great move to put that queen. You know?
Yeah, it has to go, I mean, it has to go backwards. And
I can't do the running.
All right, okay, look at, you've done
Oh,
your
I
bit.
think he put the rook there
He did
because
that. He did that.
on the off chance we attacked his B
Now
pawn.
look, see, we got something going on here, X-ray vision,
Right, got it.
and he probably planned that. Let's get this here, maybe. Get the
Let's-
bishop, or he won't take it with his rook. The bishop's way more valuable than that rook he's got.
That's why he moved the rook though, in case we attack the B pawn.
The bishop is more valuable than his rook. His
I don't
rook,
buy
and he
that.
will trade.
Let him. I don't see anything wrong with rook takes bishop.
No, you don't, but that bishop can get his king later. He's getting down on time,
No.
too.
Except that it puts our nut on the edge for it.
I don't
No, it
see
don't-
anything
it don't
wrong
do
with
nothing.
here. Well, what it was, I did
That's
with
putting the
that.
bishop back.
Let's,
What about doing this
Hang on a
to
sec.
protect our bishop? This is our powerful piece. This piece is
you know
very
what I
powerful.
like? I see that. You know what I like?
His rook's doing nothing.
Thank you.
Our bishop is.
What I like, it doesn't look good at first, but give it a sec. I like that. And the reason is, I like that.
That's good, but that might not happen. Protect our bishop.
Pin on him, yeah.
We don't want to tie our knight down protecting the bishop and the pawn. It's putting too much pressure on stuff. You know what, you understand? That knight's protecting the
the king
Yes, I
pawn.
see
That's
that.
very important pawn, or extremely important
Okay,
pawn.
if
Now
you
that-
want to move the bishop here, I'm all for it. It's just that I don't want to lose tempos if we have better opportunities. That's all I'm
Move the
saying.
bishop where?
Move the bishop to where it's protected by the pawn, and then
Then
he
he
can't
swallows
get
our-
it.
his
He
knight
won't be able to
swallows our
get that
b-pawn.
bishop hardly at all. Even the knight can't get it now.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm all for it.
the B pawn.
Loses the b-pawn, threatens the queen.
How does it lose the b pawn?
B-pawn.
Oh, I see, yeah.
B pawn. So
We're in trouble.
Right. So let's, wait on this stuff.
That's why I
And
said
now let's...
You're right.
Go ahead, let him
You
have
want
that.
to pushing the F is something I've been looking at in a half-hearted manner. Let's take a look at this. Now, if he does this, he's blocked his bishop for all time.
Yeah, right. That's good.
And I don't like that. So he's going to take. Assume he's going to take. Now, if he takes with this one, which is probably how he's going to take it, and we take with this one, which is an assumption, he now has an open file.
No, we got an unprotected bishop. No, we don't.
Excuse me,
We
is
don't.
this-
We don't. We
Which
don't.
is this? This is,
we would actually.
what are we saying?
Okay. Let me get up here.
This I don't like because the bishop
Okay,
takes
wait a minute.
pawn.
Okay.
now.
This I don't like because the bishop takes pawn. I'm sorry,
Okay.
where are we?
So yeah, okay, put that pawn there. Move this here.
Right.
See, we would be running the risk of overloading this knight.
Okay.
Even if he goes. See, I do think he'll go here, attack the queen.
Yeah, that's
If queen
bad.
takes b
Clear the
pawn,
board, yeah.
exchange queens, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden that bishop is
I
dead.
agree.
So,
Okay, we don't
not
do
good
this-
move yet.
Yeah.
Move his rook there to b1.
Do we do something like this?
See, yeah, adds extra support.
That's a
We don't
good
have to
move.
get the queen.
That's a good
We
move.
don't have to get this knight involved. This knight is our
Right.
glue.
Right.
We lose it,
Okay.
we're dead.
Which particular knight are we talking about? This one?
Yes. That's
Okay.
our
All right.
defensive knight because
Okay.
again our
Now,
bishop
we
can't move
do
anywhere.
have-
Bishop's in a
We
bad
do
spot.
have, from here, just as I keep saying, we don't want to lose any big opportunities. If we,
What if
go-
we took it with the queen right now? What if
Queen
we took the pawn
takes-
with the queen right now?
well, then he goes
Oh, the
queen takes
bishop,
queen,
yeah,
knight
the
takes,
bishop's gone.
rook takes
Yeah.
bishop.
That's right.
So let's wait a little bit, and we'll move this, where are we going to move this bishop?
The bishop's
we
in a
can't.
terrible place.
We
Yeah.
can't,
Can't.
but we
Here
can-
we
we
lose
have
the
to
B
figure
pawn.
out how to get it sooner or
I
I
later.
actually really like the suggestion you made right here. I actually
That's
like
a
it
good
very
suggestion.
much.
That's a good one. Look,
Because
Right.
now we're overloading on the b pawn. He
Yeah.
has to
he has
exchange,
to do something.
But
and it
let's
loosens us up a
No,
lot.
that's good.
immediately, an immediate there.
Yeah, here, watch out. That's good. You want to do it? Somebody got to run besides me. I can't do it.
Okay, we'll have somebody else run, but this is a big decision, this move,
Well, we can't push, I don't think we could push the F until the queen's out of the way, in
right?
my opinion. 'Cause then-
Okay, so
Let's see,
this,
no,
so this is good, we want to do this. This is
That's a
cool?
good move now. Maybe it is, maybe not.
Okay, because
Then you got that pawn. I don't think you can defend it.
all right, okay, well,
Good.
it's,
He's back
Yeah,
to his
look.
knight, but-
Look what you got. You got this, you got this. See a fork? You got
Actually-
everything. Do it,
hang on.
do it.
It only helps.
Do
us.
it,
What if,
do it. No,
so
do
we,
this.
Hey,
If he
I
gets
don't-
here, he can't defend it, and then we can take it.
yeah, we
got
all
this,
see
we
that,
got
but what
the
can
fork.
he do? That's the question.
Can't see the board. You
do
can't
this,
see the board.
see,
Sit.
what would happen if we took this pawn
Sit.
right
No,
now?
that's a
Right,
Can't see
yeah.
the
disaster,
board.
because he
Can't
goes
see the
here and he's
board.
got the whole game.
Sit. Can't see the board.
You understand?
Yeah.
We can't take that.
There's only
Sit.
one safe square.
No sit. Thank you.
Do the knight like you said, that's the best
Okay,
move.
okay,
The
knight
bishop's
there.
back in it, we
Are
got
we-
a double shot on that pawn, he can't.
We all
save
see
it.
the double shot on that pawn, and we all see the knights defend
Okay,
it.
go tell him the move.
See,
Okay,
That's a
we got-
beautiful
Settle
move.
Settle down, please.
No, we
Make
can't
an
leave anything to
explanation.
chance here.
Somebody gotta go tell him.
well, I think we have to take a look at
He'll
it.
take it with his knight.
Let me see what's under
Oh, but he
discussion.
doesn't have to take it.
No, I bet he probably will take it, because
But
otherwise.
it's
he'd be
it's
able to-
3 on
when-
1 on the b4 pawn. He'll take
Yeah.
it.
Well-
He will take it.
Okay,
Or do we wanna open the game up that much?
okay,
Yeah, you're
everybody,
right.
yeah, I'm
He's
happy
running
to,
out of time.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
happy with
happy-
it because again, No, this bishop, we don't have to worry about this bishop
No, it's a-
anymore because our
Paul, it's
bishop
a
will be
good
challenging
move.
it.
It's a good move, but Greg's getting low on time.
Let's not worry about the time.
Okay, then that's the move.
Let's-
Great. I mean, we waste more time talking about time. Okay. All righty, let's try it.
what's-
Okay, I'll
what-
run it in.
What's
All
been
right.
called? What's been called?
Okay,
Knight to d5.
knight to d5.
Right, a deep,
We are being aggressive, guys.
I can't see anything wrong with it.
No, it is a really good
Take your
move. I wonder if we'll get an exclamation point on it. Maybe two. Wow.
I gotta go left. I can't remember the moves. When I get over there, I don't
That's-
remember. And he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Well, I don't know."
Yeah, that's,
I think you're right, though, because we trade down a little bit.
yeah.
See
Yeah, we
what's-
give our other bishop a lot of scope, so.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
usually when the two bishops are taking up these two diagonals aimed right at the king,
Yeah.
we're in very good shape. I like our position. I actually think we're winning.
I think that too, actually.
Yeah. That's we take. Again, after we take there, we're still ganging up on the pawn there.
Yeah, and
On
then
this
we could
pawn.
push that F pawn because that knight's no longer a threat.
Yes.
wait a minute. What if knight takes pawn? Knight takes b pawn, checking the queen.
The rook.
The rook takes the knight.
Rook takes knight. That's it.
Knight, then rook takes bishop.
Then our knight takes his rook.
Takes his rook. We got everything covered. I think we actually
Boy,
have.
Greg's doing some thinking over there.
Oh, all right.
Excellent,
How
excellent.
much time do we have?
I think
was-
we have around an hour and 5 minutes left.
That was-
That's what it feels like.
That was Greg's. I'll go check the time in a minute. That was did you think of that move? Because it was beautiful.
Actually, Paul thought of it first,
Paul
just
did?
kind of an afterthought. Then we kind of went away from it. And I decided, okay. Then I just asked him,
Yeah.
well, what was wrong with it? And we looked at it.
No, that's a
We like it.
beautiful move. I mean, it's so good. Because
The rook to a6.
Rook to a6.
I think we welcome that.
Oh,
oh,
We welcome that move because we force a swap of rooks, excuse me.
Okay.
okay.
I think.
We
I
can kind
think-
of force that.
No, wait, hold it. Things are coming. This can go here now. This knight can go here now. Because we can't move this. So here's a good move. No, then he'll take that one.
I think we should try the rook to b6.
I'm sorry, the rook to b6, that's what I meant, yes.
Yeah, no, wait, hold it. See this? Do you see he can go here?
if he swaps rooks, then our B pawn's
No, then if we
undefended.
take it, then he gets him. He's gotten into us.
Yeah, I
If
think we
go here,
rushed
then
that one
he goes
maybe.
here, and then our queen, we gotta move our queen. What if we just did this right now?
We can't take that pawn either because he could pin with his bishop.
No, this
We
knight's
can
in
take the
danger.
pawn with this knight, can't we?
No, he'll pin with his bishop.
He'll pin with his
How?
bishop.
Like-
Oh wait, you're wrong. I mean, I'm wrong.
He can't, that might be the best move, and then we can't, he
I
can
like
go here
that.
though. He can go here and he's got two on there. But we can go here and we got his queen. It's-
No, the knights defend each
Oh,
other.
have fun.
The knights, excuse me, the knights defend each other. He goes knight takes
Yeah.
pawn.
Do it. That's what we're
Okay, it's a
planning on.
little,
He'd
it's a
go
little
here, though.
tricky.
No.
It's a little,
That's good, it's good.
okay, he goes,
No, it's
stop. Now, let's look.
Help.
Knight takes
It's
pawn.
good, it's good, it's
Just a
good.
second. Knight takes pawn,
Queen takes knight.
knight, yes, now, hang on. He's got a bishop and a rook on this knight. But he is a knight down, so I guess we're all right.
And you also have a fork on d3.
Okay, here's another, I just thought of a good idea. Hold it, put it back. What if the rook comes here?
That was what I said in the beginning, but well, let's look at it, by all means.
Oh, that's bad though. Because if rook
Let's
comes here, he
be
takes rook, this
established
takes
the-
rook, and then the
the-
knight takes here, and our
I
queen's in
can't see what's
danger, and the
happening.
bishop.
Please sit. Please take
I
a
take the
chair.
pawn.
Looking at.
Where is this pawn? Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is bad because, go ahead,
Well, he takes the rook,
right?
and then whatever, then we take his rook, and then he takes our pawn with the knight, and our queen and bishop are forked, and we can't save the bishop.
Okay.
So that's a really bad move.
Well, I say we get this pawn, don't we? I mean, it's like rook takes, rook,
Rook takes, we take, and then he takes this pawn and our queen's in
Rook
danger, whatever's
takes.
there's in danger.
here.
Yeah, but he's here then,
He takes
see?
there, right, and then we go.
That's bad for us.
Yes, hang on a second, please.
Okay.
He takes here. We take here. How is this bad for
That'd work. He trades queens.
So, what's the move we're going for?
the rook here?
On the pawn on e5.
2 on 1 on the pawn on e5.
Yeah, the e5 pawn's gonna, yeah.
Okay, so we don't like this. In other words, this is very complex because this knight is somewhat available if he goes something like knight takes knight. Well, he can't go. Queen takes queen.
Yeah, but it
Bishop
probably
takes
won't end up in
queen.
that position, though. There's too many moves to get to that, so there's not much.
A lot of this is forced.
But
At any rate, I think we should stick with the knight takes. If
Knight takes b4 right now.
that's what I
we
like.
got-
That's my
I actually
instinct.
like that too, because after everything we looked at, there was also a fork right here.
yeah, there's a fork
Because there
there.
was a knight right here, there's a fork right there. You'll have to respect that where you have some extra material.
Okay.
So
Okay.
look at
So
this
knight.
knight takes b4.
Oh, hold it though. Okay, we take this, and if he takes it with his queen,
Then we take his
then we
queen.
take his queen, then he takes our queen. then
No.
we take his
Why don't we
rook.
take with our queen?
With our queen.
Why don't we
With
take with
our
our
queen?
queen?
Okay, I didn't see.
I mean, you have to be a little
Okay,
careful
let's do
about this
something.
stuff.
We're
But,
running out of time.
Can I just throw one idea out there?
Let's get something done. We're running low, we're getting,
hey, please!
Knight takes b pawn.
Knight takes b pawn. That's what we're looking
Yeah,
at.
that's
Okay,
what we're looking
so
at right now. We're taking.
If he sacked his, or not sacked, but if he took our bishop with his rook,
He takes our bishop with his rook.
Uh-oh,
After that
yeah,
one.
that's it.
then we move our knight to take his rook.
And then he
Right.
gets our knight. That's,
No, because it's defended with the
We
queen.
still have our queen.
We have the queen.
Right,
so
but then
much
I'm not
pressure
done.
on-
And
Oh,
then,
hang on.
He cannot
Take it.
touch
But
that.
let him finish.
Let's see, we have
Then,
so much, right now, we have so much pressure
Yeah.
on the b4 square. He's going to lose that pawn. He's
Let's
trying to
do
find
it.
something in return.
I tend to agree, but I want Eric to finish here. What's up, Eric? Are you?
What?
just being paranoid, I think.
Okay.
Then knight takes e pawn.
All right, let's do it then.
Okay, knight takes b4. I'll go tell the news.
I don't know, it's tricky. It's very
It
tricky.
is tricky. I agree.
Very tricky.
I agree. I mean, it's
Because I'm thinking after all that, knight takes e pawn. And then
okay.
Yeah, knight takes b pawn,
e.
e pawn.
Because we can't,
Oh.
but I think we end up winning that, so it's okay.
so are you gonna, is that what we did?
That's
world's
what
most
we
dangerous
decided to
game.
do, and I think
I think he went to tell Greg.
I think Miles has.
Are you gonna do the move?
We did the move.
No, you didn't.
Didn't we move? Isn't this the move?
No,
Okay.
we're there.
We're actually
Yeah,
taking
we
it.
took the pawn.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. I guess I was redoing last move and we just
Oh, see
lost
what-
track of how far we developed all this stuff. Okay.
We took it with that?
Yeah. Alrighty. At any rate, I don't know where we can.
No, I'd like to keep this discussion more intelligible to me. I can't see what's
I'm
happening
sorry.
when this
I think what you're saying is when you have
pseudo-debate
three
is going
bodies,
on,
you got
this-
I
three
think.
bodies covering the board.
I think you
This pseudo-debate
probably
that is
speak
starring
for.
only one
I think
person.
you're speaking for much of America that is watching
Yeah,
this. when
because they're
they
all
say
like, what the hell are
having
they
a hard
talking
time
about? Because they're
following.
covering the board.
Yeah. Okay.
If anybody's
Yes.
watching.
Yes. There's a tremendous fork. Now that looks like a terrible problem for white because there's a family fork here.
No. We're on D3.
Yeah,
He slides the rook, and then we can't move that knight.
oh yeah. Oh, this rook?
But that might win it anyway, because we take queen.
Oh, the rook can't defend, no.
Now, we're obviously threatening taking this pawn.
We do have to start being careful, I think.
Yes, we are. We're defending we're offending this pawn with the knight.
Yeah.
Why didn't we take that pawn with the queen?
What would happen if he slid the rook over?
Oh, because it was a. You know, if he takes this with the knight and he slides the rook over,
Yeah.
you take the queen, and then granted he takes the queen, but you
And
take
we win the
Oh,
rook as
the
well.
rook gets
Yeah, so we
there.
win that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Well, I
Well,
wanted to say
gentlemen.
that this has never been more pleasant than just the three of
we're
us.
just the three of us. but,
And I would like to apologize to all America for yelling.
Did you? Oh, yeah. I hardly noticed because there was so much other noise going on.
Knight takes rook on c6.
Knight.
Knight
Rook on C.
takes rook.
Or rook
Takes knight on
c6.
c6.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh.
checking the queen. Rook takes knight c6.
Okay, well
the
there's
obvious
a move.
There's only one move here. I think.
Let's see. Well, we can actually.
We can actually
So
go
we can't
two ways.
can't take it with the queen. No way.
You lose the knight, so yeah, I think there's only one move here.
And that's
Or
the
we
knight
could
takes.
exchange queens. No.
That's the
Queen,
knight
what,
takes.
What does he do next?
Well, let's. I'm sorry, you say we could exchange queens? How do we exchange queens?
Go here,
By
but then
take-
we'll lose our knight, but we'll be ahead if you take this. Then we
Yeah.
got this.
We win the exchange if you simply just
Yeah,
take the rook.
if you just take that, we're ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else he does is a lot.
And we're already
lot
ahead of
worse.
pawn.
He'll get that. I mean, he won't, see, we can even, yeah,
You know,
just, I take it with, not with the queen,
No.
just
Yeah,
only
of
with
course.
the knight.
Right, only with the knight.
Yeah.
yeah, we.
Right. I'm just wondering
He's
if.
protected everything. We got it. We got the game, and he's got 10 minutes left. But we
All right, okay.
don't screw up.
I'll pass it on.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Miles.
thanks. Isn't that, God, we're doing so good. Uh-oh, here's something to, here,
What?
look, see this one? Okay, we got it covered. He's got 2 on it. We're doing good.
It depends
Nothing, I guess.
if he uncovers that bishop anytime this century.
We stopped him from using it pretty much. That's good.
Okay.
What he's-
Now, in terms of endgame finesse, we both have 2 bishops. He has 2 knights. We have to be careful the knights don't get centered. Centered knights are
Yeah.
dangerous. We are the exchange up with 2 rooks, a rook being worth, this is for the audience, a rook being worth about 5 pawns, a bishop being worth about 3, and a knight being worth 2.5. These values really don't mean a lot, except they vary with the situation.
Pawn to d4.
Attaboy, Greg. Okay.
Okay,
Now, we could handle that all sorts of interesting ways. We
I'd say
could,
pawn to E4, and that blocks his bishop, and
Then he just
You
moves
don't
his.
have
Then he
time.
moves his pawn again. It's forked.
that's right.
I don't like pawn takes pawn because it opens the game up in a particularly dangerous manner, although we do have a
We do- we
lot
do.
of pieces on it.
Yeah, we have 4 pieces on him versus 2 defending.
Okay, so,
Where's this rook?
He can
What is
throw
this
the
rook
rook
really?
over.
Is it here?
He can put
It's
his
still
rook
there.
over.
How to get back to here?
If we take it, he could move his rook over, see?
See
And then we could be in trouble, but what if we push
What
the,
took this rook?
the e-pawn is,
the pawn, then he has to move his knight somewhere?
yeah.
The knight that was
I'm
here.
almost wondering if we shouldn't leave it and do this.
So this is the way we
No, that's
did it?
dangerous, that's too dangerous.
Oh my, we're looking.
I'm often wondering if we shouldn't leave it and do this. No, that takes a piece off. What do you guys think? What would
Well,
you do
I
for
think
you?
Miles is right. We can't let him push it one more.
Yeah,
We can't.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, we
We
don't
can,
want,
we
yeah.
can take it originally, but then he slides the
even
rook.
even if we push our pawn, he's gonna push his.
Okay, you're saying
If we do
this,
that, he's still gonna
this.
push.
Yeah, then that's
and
bad
then
for us.
we go bishop takes, obviously.
Then the
right?
rook can move over and all kinds of bad things happen.
And then,
Yeah, he's got it.
Then we're pinned.
and
yeah,
then
we're pinned.
and nasty because the way
Yeah.
he does here.
Yeah,
Okay, and then we have
See.
to do this. Well, actually, maybe we can get away with it, but basically, it's a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if
So-
we don't, we can always keep taking pieces.
I think it's risky.
All right.
It could be worth the risk, but it is a risk.
you got the bishop and knight wrong.
Maybe, right?
What do I do?
The
Is this right?
the,
What do you mean? Where's it?
the bishop's on e6, the knight's on c6.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No,
One thing we could do
yeah, you're right, you're right.
is we could see our
Take the pawn and trade
our
down.
b5 pawn is still under.
Yeah, take the pawn, I think take
We could
it.
actually put our bishop on c4, and that thing and those two put together, that's powerful.
Yeah, that would be good too.
Bishop on c4.
That thing will be a terror on the.
Yeah,
That's an interesting move, and I
Yeah.
like it.
no, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now-
His dark bishop is bad because it's on.
Okay,
Yeah.
now he'll obviously go pawn takes pawn.
And then
that
knight
has-
takes
Wait,
pawn.
a minute, is this here?
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
is-
no, not yet, no.
It's on e1.
Yes.
Okay.
So this isn't that bad. See, here it scared me.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Okay,
scared.
I
Right
apologize.
now it's on right now it's on
All
e1,
right,
so we're-
okay.
Bishop C4.
Okay, I like that.
That's a good
I
move.
think that's a heck of a smart move, Mark.
Yeah, it is, it is.
Let's do it.
Excuse me for
Yeah.
talking to you like you're,
Oh,
like a
that's-
dog. I apologize.
I am the youngest here, unless, how old are you?
27.
Okay.
Okay, I'm definitely the youngest. I'm 22.
Okay. Now, what's our dream is something like this, and
Yeah.
that may not be a bad idea because the bishop there helps it, even though he'll see it coming, but it won't be much he can do about it.
Greg moved, wait a minute, hold it. Greg moved here?
Yeah, he pushed his
Yeah.
pawn there.
And
And
I
he
like
was
the
threatening
bishop
to do
there.
that.
I
Let's
think
do
the
that.
bishop there is
That's good.
I think that's the best move. I give that an exclamation point. I don't know if I gave the last one
Let's
that
go
Greg
do
did.
it. Go
Okay,
tell
do
him.
it.
We're gonna be
No,
All
all
right.
let's-
right.
Okay,
do it, yeah.
I'll run. Miles gets to brag.
He could immediately
Okay.
with knight to
I figured
D2.
I just took the mic. Everyone knew I was gonna had to stand up here for that one, but it's
I guess not.
of course we're a long way from the end, but you do see the light.
Hey, entertain something for me. Knight D2.
Knight to d2. If he did that, it's definitely looking to undermine it. Let's see.
I think that works out
What could
bad
he do
for
from
him.
there? Well, see, taking the bishop is an empty threat because we simply take with the pawn and we gain a tempo by attacking the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting concept.
Wait
But-
to hear what Greg said.
Yeah.
What
He
did
said, I
Greg say?
can't talk now. He said, I'm under the gun here. Oh, boy, those guys are doing it.
He said that a few times when we found him on the roast, but we always know how those end. But yes, it's looking very good for us. See, is Paul still waiting for his move, or?
Okay, he pushed the pawn, the D pawn.
Pushed it.
What did he do?
D pawn.
Pushed the D.
He did, you're right.
Pushed the V pawn.
Okay. So, okay, right now it's 2-on-2 on that square.
Oh,
And again, if we move the knight here, we're not only threatening this fork, we're also attacking this
yeah.
I
Do it,
think
do
so.
it.
See,
That's
it's-
perfect.
Seeing that knight was here, we were contemplating knight to d2.
So you
I
can
But-
think
take it,
this
but
is
then this
nasty. I think this becomes nasty now.
Yeah, it becomes all the more worse
Yeah.
because now we're threatening to take this pawn as well.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
it, do it, do it.
I think we're doing. I think
Okay.
I'll deliver this.
What's
Okay, attaboy.
Well, now we're doing it. And then that can go back.
Oh, look, that's nasty afterwards. Huh?
Right, what a deal. And then look, we got a fork, another rook.
Okay, now he can do nasty stuff like this, but I don't think
Take the
that's
knight with the pawn.
right. You're absolutely correct. You've got a good solid center here.
Oh my God.
Isn't that fantastic?
Wait a minute.
This is
wait a
unbelievable, guys.
What up? What's up, Ben?
minute, Wait a minute.
Greg's under the gun, and the gun just got bigger.
Say what you have to, Ben.
This knight.
What's where?
Knight from C to D4. Apparent sacrifice. Poisoned knight.
Okay.
See, the
Even
knight
if we
take-
don't
yeah,
take
but you
it.
can't-
Yeah, hang on.
Even if
What are
we
you
don't
saying,
take,
Ben?
Followed by bishop takes pawn on H6.
Bishop takes pawn on...
H6.
No, it's still blocked. There's this thing here.
What? Oh, there's a pawn there?
As far as this board's concerned, is it on that board?
On E5, there is a pawn.
I'm talking about E3.
A white pawn on E3?
White
Yeah,
pawn on
right.
E3.
Yeah, he has a white pawn on E3.
Okay, good, excellent.
Oh, good.
All right,
My
okay.
board has got itself jumbled here.
Okay.
Well, we're doing good. What's Greg gonna do?
Oh, he's got the pawns in line. What was the last move? D5? D5?
We put our knight on B4, didn't we?
We put our knight on B4. That was our last
Rook
move.
to D1.
Rook to D1. So is he
That's fine.
talking about a
Yeah.
double rook sacrifice in case we go there? And if he does, I'm wondering if... Yeah, I see that.
Well, he wants to get, see, look, and then we lose that, so we don't wanna do that. We're gonna have to, we gotta do something, get him somewhere, or either that, no.
Well, we don't want to take that yet, but I'm wondering if we want to do something... No, that doesn't quite work. I was thinking of pushing this
Well,
pawn
this pawn here.
first.
This pawn here or here?
No, hang on, and you're blocking people. I mean, you can you operate with your other, point with your other hand, and I think you're fine. Well, other than the fact that we don't want to take that pawn, do we still want to move here? That sort of has wonderful little...
It's a good fork, I think.
I don't have anything against even the apparently mediocre knight takes bishop, just because that could get dangerous later, and there's nothing wrong with swapping pieces when you're a little bit ahead.
What if you move the queen in line with the bishop? Move the queen to...
Well, it's great as far as being able to take this pawn with impunity,
The pawn
but
might be a- might
it
be
has the
poisoned.
downside of basically putting the queen on a fairly lousy diameter, and also just plain wasting a move.
Let's say
I
move the
mean,
queen,
No, or taking a move. I
Queen
shouldn't
here.
say wasted a move.
and then move here, take this, the queen takes this, king in check. I don't...
No, you got this bishop here. You've got this bishop defending
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
You're just
Won't work.
I think an immediate knight there is the obvious, and I think it's the correct.
I could just, he could threaten our bishop down here, because he has to move his queen, obviously. And,
Yeah, knight there, and then push the
and then he
pawn.
threatens our bishop, and then we don't really get the fork, do we?
We're not gonna get the fork.
Well, this pawn is now very defended. This pawn does a wonderful job of blocking this. This becomes not a terrible move, and
We could stack our
and
rooks
simply
up.
this is not a bad move if he moves his queen to that diagonal. That has,
Yeah,
well, I mean, not that a diagonal,
Oh, that's
but
good.
this whole rank is what I meant. The A file is what I'm talking about. You know, I think this is an immediate correct move, even though he may well
Queen A1.
sack another exchange. You know, and I mean, he still has two bishops.
What am
that's a
I
good
he
enough
still
move.
has-
That's a good move,
Yeah,
and then let's see what he does.
Okay,
because again, force him to move.
okay, here, you have the floor, Mons.
Okay.
We're being brave, guys.
Alright.
And then we could push that pawn down again if we wanted to, too. The pawn down again, maybe, or
Yeah.
lots of things can happen.
Still in good shape, and again, this buys us time to
The only thing I'm
further
worried
develop
about
our
is
plans.
Queen
Again, we're
A1.
He might try to get his bishop here, say, look, the rook, the queen, and the bishop.
The skewer here, but
Yeah,
okay.
we could push
Could
this
put-
one.
What
We're
if
doing good.
what if he goes queen A1?
Queen to A1.
Because he's going to have to move it,
Then we can
obviously.
move the rook back.
Threatens our bishop.
We can move the rook over though.
How do we protect that bishop?
See,
Oh, then we'd lose the pawn.
see, not necessarily. If he is queen to A1, threatening the skewer here.
One square, putting two pieces on that knight.
See, so
Yeah,
queen
sure.
to B1.
Yes.
Okay, queen to B1.
Okay. Now, oh heavens.
He went queen B1?
Queen to B1. So
Now, is it crazy to now look at this pawn up? This knight moves, I don't know where. Probably has to move.
So you give an outpost there, or it could go to H4.
That's a good move.
Not necessarily. We move here, he goes to
He'll go
H4.
there. Yeah, that's not so good. Yeah, then you'll have two
Oh.
moves.
Now
You
you
get
could
double
you
isolated
could
pawns,
double
because-
isolated pawns.
Yeah, we just exchange the knight and the bishop, and now he's got
Okay.
now he's got more weaknesses.
Now he
Bishop's
does
hemmed in
have-
by our pawns.
All right, and he has to do that. He can't at this point go
Can't go to
Yeah.
D2.
any rook
'cause,
rook action.
yeah.
I
It
mean,
can't go to D2.
what I was worried about for the audience, again, I was worried about rook takes knight, bishop takes, queen takes, and that's two pieces for the rook, and that puts him in pretty good shape. But this does something about that, but it's not necessarily, the double isolated pawns I like.
What if you
I don't entirely object to knight takes bishop just because it wrecks his two bishops, which is his best in-game compensation for being down in exchange.
Yeah, but that knight there is way better than his bishop. His bishop's a bad bishop. He
It's a
can't-
bad bishop now, but it's a good bishop now.
Yeah. The knight could take it after he moves it, maybe.
Okay, well, let's do this, and then we'll
Yeah,
figure
that's
it
the
out.
best.
See, this has a theoretical disadvantage of taking pressure off the center, but
Yeah.
in this particular case, I think it's good. Thank you, Miles.
Yeah, especially since the game is winding down. Running short on pieces, running short on time.
Right.
You may not be able to see everything.
God, what a good game.
Alrighty.
So where do you think he's going to put that knight?
Well,
In the
where we
center.
guessed,
He'll go here,
Yep.
probably, that's what I do. And then we gotta watch
Okay.
out. And then a good move would be moved to here to make him get rid of this one.
now what we were going to do here is double isolate the pawns, even if it means the bishop for the knight giving up the two
Knight to
bishops.
queen 4 as expected.
Yeah.
Knight to queen 4 as expected. I think we do the following endgame. We get ourselves into bishop takes knight, knight takes bishop. Please get out of the way.
I'm sorry.
Bishop takes knight, knight takes bishop, and that negates the two bishop advantage. We're an honest exchange up. He's got isolated pawns. Our biggest worry is the queens. His bishop's fairly well cut off here. Basically, we go into an end game. We try to swap queens just because it'll make it simpler.
Yes.
And that's general strategy. Anybody, and that we can force.
It's typical strategy when you're ahead. Exchange pieces to extend your lead.
Yeah.
Plus, we have a passed pawn, and that's a correct strategy.
What if
Okay.
what if you was
Protected
to
by a
take
bishop.
the queen knight with that bishop? Then you'll have stacked pawns.
What if we
What
what?
if this bishop takes this knight?
Yes, that's
and
what
then
we
he's got
talked.
stacked
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly
thank
what we
you.
want.
Thank you. This is what we've been talking about.
I thought, okay.
Okay.
Exactly what.
Okay, what should we do in which order? We can take this knight first.
No, take the knight
take-
first.
Take
See,
the
bishop
knight
takes
first.
knight first.
Yeah,
Okay.
the reason why that knight, the double knights, he's got 3 things on this.
Yes,
So
Yeah,
that's
take the knight first, because we get another one if he doesn't respond.
yes.
And we can keep going with this if we want.
Okay, well, it doesn't, I think both of them were forced. I don't think it makes any difference, but I'm not going to argue. We just take it. Great.
See, he had 3 guys on that.
Yeah,
that
but,
B pawn.
uh,
But now he don't.
well, yeah, but if we took this, he'd have to recapture something other than the pawn, so it wouldn't have
Yeah,
mattered, but,
that's true too. I think this is better though, than he got stacked
Pawn
on.
takes bishop.
Yeah.
good boy, Greg. Okay, now,
Now-
I think
now-
we
now-
do the
now's
weenie
the-
thing, and we go knight takes bishop.
I think so.
Yeah, especially since now his bishop's wide open.
Right.
That last restricting pawn is out of the way. We
Right.
give him one hesitant
What
moment.
if,
He goes
what
to
if you
F.
push the B pawn down one and make him move his knight somewhere? He's got no place to put it. Good.
Well, that's great for grabbing a pawn.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't.
It grabs us that immediate double
It
pawn.
protects our bishop though. Yeah, I know it does, but maybe we don't.
Well,
want it.
maybe we want to grab that pawn quickly. What do you think?
I don't know.
We do that. That's actually not a bad move. We do this first.
See what-
And then he has to move his knight. Where is he gonna move it? That's the thing. And look,
Well, let's assume he moves back here. Well, no, wait a minute. No, I'm not mad for that, but it's just something we ought to look at. This is probably a slightly better move. The trouble is, this is such a nice,
yeah,
neat
right,
little
right,
thing.
you're right
Yeah,
about
that's why.
Yeah, let's say, let's stick with our themes. And basically, bishop takes here is not a bad thing either, and we can, or we can figure out, maybe get another piece here and whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, I say
If you
knight
move
takes
here,
bishop.
See, this can go here, and we gotta watch that real closely.
Yeah, again, this bishop
Yeah.
is
Get the
live
bishop,
now.
get the
This
bishop.
bishop's
Get rid of
live.
Yeah,
it
get the
now.
bishop.
This is a bishop that's going to get scary. I mean, it's got all kinds of fun stuff you can do with it. Knight takes bishop is a no-brainer. All right.
No brainer.
And
is
it's what
looking
we had
good,
in
guys.
mind from several moves ago, so we might as well do it.
Stick to the plan.
They are doing so good.
Stick with the plan. That's
Can't have 5 different plans all at once.
That's going to be quoted if it hasn't been already. It's like something that they have in AA as one of their steps.
That's right. That's a plan that
Yeah,
needs to be called the
right
plan.
up there with fake it till you make it. It's great.
Plus, we
Wonderful.
can push that F pawn now.
Um,
Even if he took with the
well-
queen, he'd have to pry it open.
Push the F pawn is not a terrible idea because you're right, we've got 2 pieces on this square, we're talking about this, and that's not a bad idea at all.
Maybe it is. I think I jumped the gun.
I think you jumped the gun. Yeah, I
Knight
think it's
takes
a bad
E pawn.
idea.
Yeah.
You basically want to do what we can against the mess, but basically,
Queen
Yeah.
takes C1.
Yep.
Queen takes knight on C1.
all right,
Takes knight.
okay, excellent. Now it's time to think about what we have to do to actually win this game. Technically, we've got ourselves a lovely game. It's just that, as everybody says, the hardest thing to win is 1 games. I shouldn't
right.
say everybody, but this is
There's no greater danger than being ahead.
yes. Now,
Let's see.
which
We can whip the pawn on D5 right now, but that would allow the knight to reposition itself.
no, we can't really, because bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, queen takes.
Okay. Well, queen.
Plus
same
that-
thing,
Yeah,
rook
Yeah,
to-
no, what
His
I
pawn-
would
his
do
pawn's not really
more or
going nowhere
less,
either.
if I can think of a general strategy, I think we might think about not doing much against those pawns, as tempting
I
as
say
they
leave them alone
are.
because they're ineffective.
I
when they're stacked
think
like that.
we
We
basically,
could
push our
this
pawn.
is lovely block. Do we want to double rooks down here?
Yeah. Except for we gotta.
Hey, I think Miles is onto something.
What we
can
really
walk
want
that
to
pawn
do-
down.
Go ahead.
More than anything else,
We might be able to walk that guy right
Time
in.
Over
to go
here.
down.
It's
Yes.
moving into additional protection.
Yeah.
right?
if the knight moves...
We
to
can't
attack-
support it till we get rid of this pawn or that one, but
No,
we can't
no,
support it with a
No,
pawn.
these are stopping Greg from getting us. These and these and this.
Yes,
It's pretty
right.
much preventing these
So we
two
can
pieces
push
from...
our pawn.
Okay, go ahead, Miles, let's do this.
Push this pawn.
No, I meant, let's look at it.
Okay, okay. See, push
Right.
this pawn, moves it into additional protection from the queen,
Right.
attacks the knight.
Right,
Where can the knight go?
okay,
So you can move to the side.
right.
It's we're attacking the bishop, but now this pawn is undefended. You can take it there.
Bishop's undefended. Oh,
Not then.
Not anymore.
Um,
See, you can move here, but it just continues to pawn just continues to advance. This rook.
Yeah.
See, with this rook behind it, this pawn is now a
Okay.
battering ram.
Okay, but the only, and I like the idea, the main reason for doing that is to get rid of this pawn. And I think in order to do that, I think I want this rook there.
We need to protect.
And we may want to take this with something else. I think we want to wait, or maybe not.
No, ram it down, he's only got 5 minutes.
Let's not think like that. We can.
Okay.
He's extremely fast when he wants to be, and
Yeah, I know
he's
that.
been looking at everything while we're talking, so he's got moves in mind. He's looked at this. So basically, it's there.
Ouch, ouch.
Hey,
Never
feel
mind.
free to talk.
Never mind.
Okay, and then we look at something like, where's he going to go? You're absolutely correct. There's
See,
no
A4
great
and A2
move.
won't work.
it's got very
There's no
limited
great
choices.
there,
move,
but
but then you
that's
just take it.
Yeah.
You see, we're an extremely, okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. It's just that I don't feel we're quite ready for it, but whatever. Alrighty, I do apologize for how I get, but I would have moved this here,
I say we just leave
possibly
the pawn
even
alone. There's no reason to take that pawn.
Well, the reason to take this pawn is to advance connected pawns. But you mean taking both of them. And we're assuming things are adequately
I mean, they're not
blocked
going
here.
anywhere. They're no threat. I mean,
They're keeping the rook off us.
yeah.
They're
All
doing
right.
a good
In
job
fact,
for
he
us.
can't
They're
do
doing a
anything.
good job of
keeping the
blocking.
bishop.
I tend to think also, this sounds weird, but I would also think that our first job, which is our main job, is to swap queens. The instant we swap queens, we've got ourselves a very,
winning game,
almost
yeah.
self-working game.
Exactly right.
And we haven't achieved it quite yet. And, I mean, we'll do this because everybody got excited.
Knight to B1.
What did we do?
B1.
B1.
What did we do last?
All right.
Miles? What did we do last? That?
See, looks like the current position.
Now, do we take that pawn, we take the pawn with the bishop?
It looks better than the queen, I think.
Yeah, because you can always undermine this protection here by pushing here.
And
See, again, we
the
can't-
knight's only
He wouldn't
sensible
dare, so we could
move
just
is
take it.
here. Okay. So we take the pawn with the bishop, and that gives much better support for this advance
Yeah.
there.
Add 5 minutes. We gotta add 5 minutes on Greg's clock.
Lovely. We're
because
going
he's
to
got like
take,
30 seconds.
great, okay.
Something went wrong.
Well, okay, wonderful. Now, we're going to take
So give
the
him 5
pawn with the
minutes.
bishop. Do you want me to
Give
do
him
it?
10
I'm
minutes.
just going to move it along.
Not give
Okay.
him 10.
Give him 10 minutes.
Okay.
Don't give him 10. Come on. Worked hard for those minutes.
Everybody has
Whose side
an
are you on,
immediate better move.
What did you call?
I do not.
Pawn, bishop takes pawn.
Bishop takes D5.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll push the clock. 5 minutes.
Let's see. This knight's grinding him down. We can just get we can just find a way to get the queen to penetrate.
Okay, just hit this center one.
I won't hit. Oh, to start it?
Yeah.
Okay. just-
Okay.
Good.
See, it's the point where we should try and force an exchange of queens. So, and that'll pretty much get rid of the biggest active piece right now. And so that's what we should try and do next.
So we start a threat of a pawn. Start a pawn threat.
Yeah. See, we've already done that. We have this nice pass pawn right here.
Yeah.
covered by two people. See, we move down, protected by our least important piece, so gives us additional tactical advantage. This rook is pushing it along. No, think
It's got good chances of.
What did we just move?
we just took this pawn with our bishop.
Okay, good.
See, and we're
Yeah.
we're trying to think of a good way that we can force an exchange of queens here.
Ooh, really?
Greg's got 5 minutes, and we have a big.
I can't.
We have about
Think about
Queen
this
to
until we get a plan.
E3.
We have to have a plan from here, man.
Okay.
Queen to what?
I can't.
E3.
E3. Now, this is my idea of a general plan. Other than trying to swap queens, which is an almost tantamount and that may be an excellent move to start thinking about swapping queens by moving this pawn. We have to look at that. But
It'd break up
How about-
our blockade. That
I was going to suggest
Getting the rooks down
something along the lines of this rook here, this pawn here, king here. But we don't have to do that immediately.
What if we kept pushing the B pawn
But we have to,
and get it right down to the second row and then get a rook down?
well, you immediately push,
You know, get our
here.
rook stacked.
The knight's out of its little prison there,
yeah,
and it'll start
yeah,
attacking the pawn.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I
Oh,
think-
Right
yeah.
now that
I
B4
think-
pawn
Right, you're right.
is
I think-
radiating sunshine.
I think we do the best we can to swap queens. Now, if we swap queens, it leaves this pawn temporarily undefended. We can do that, which lets us either double rooks, or to protect this.
What if
We
line
can
the
do
rooks up
this.
on the A file and then come down that way?
We can, but basically, I'm looking at this in hopes of encouraging a queen swap. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn.
You're gonna open
Right.
up his bishop if you don't be careful.
His bishop's stuck.
Yeah, but
Bishop's stuck right now. It's
Yeah, right.
defended by the
It
bishop.
can
and
go
it's-
here. This is true. It can go here, but he can't do it immediately because of this pawn. So what's he going to do from here? In other words, this sort of busts him open. Do we want to do this immediately, or do we wait a bit?
why don't we wait and push the B pawn, get it down to get the rook stacked on the A file?
I would be much more
He's got
comfortable
5
with queens swapped than I am with pushing that pawn,
We need to keep that rook on
especially
the F file
the
anyway.
possibility of removing this pawn and having two passed pawns is just heaven.
So,
I don't know.
yes, I do like that idea, and I pass it on.
So what are you doing? We're advancing this?
Is this what we like? Do we
I like it a
pawn
lot.
F4?
I like it a lot, because he can't,
Okay, everybody likes it.
it's almost
Okay.
forced.
F4, pawn to F4.
Here we come.
In fact, that is forced.
This board isn't keeping up.
All right.
He's gonna have to either move the queen or just take the pawn.
Pawn takes pawn.
It's quick.
And I say we capture with the queen. Are we all on the same page?
Yes, yes.
I firmly believe in that as well.
Okay,
Looks
all righty.
Looks just dandy.
Queen takes pawn, guys. We gotta watch out for the speed chess.
He's playing rook to C1. He's going after our pawn on C7.
Rook to C1. Well, we can very
C6 or
simply
Defended by
just
pushing it one
pushing it, but we can do that, or we can simply swap queens immediately.
Yeah, I'd try to get
See.
this queen.
Queen's
Now
first, then
that
defend pawn.
that will
Yeah, that'll do it.
that will permit him to defend this pawn, and then we do this,
Yep, then we're safe.
and then
Then we can get our rooks over here.
we do
clean
it,
the pawn.
you know, yeah, and basically we try to do something like get a rook to the seventh file, I think. But this does permit him connected pawns, as we know.
Yep. That's
Okay.
good.
All righty.
So swap
Go
queens.
check time.
Swapping queens.
We're up 2 pawns at this point. And the exchange.
And again, for everyone who is trying to follow this game, we technically should have a 1 game. We are an exchange ahead
All right.
and
Okay, pawn takes queen.
5 pawns to 3.
Okay. Now,
So,
our last question, if we can get this done, we'll win the game.
right?
How do we get our rooks down here?
Okay. What we do, the first thing we do is we save this pawn or he's going to get his rook down.
Okay. All right.
And we may start regretting having advanced this pawn as far as we did. It's not a big regret, but it's a small regret, just because now we have to worry a little bit about his attacking it and tying up a rook.
Okay.
I say we get a rook to the 7th file, possibly here, possibly to the 8th file.
Okay, we played the rook up here.
Up there, okay.
Grants him some activity, but so you can force exchange of rooks there.
Let's
It
grab.
doesn't force anything, he can back
Delve
up.
to the rear.
No, it'll
Sit.
stack our
Sit.
pawns, and that's really bad.
Sit.
That's not.
See, we're
No, sit.
Let's,
Why don't you move it over
Nope,
to the
sit.
A file?
let's stick with my first plan of if we just do this,
You got a beautiful, beautiful thing there. If you can get over it down here, and then you got it.
hang on, false alarm.
what's up?
False alarm. So he didn't play his rook up there, he played his knight to d2.
Yeah.
Knight to d2. He's
Please.
trying to get his knight possibly to this square,
Miles?
possibly to this
He's
square.
attacking the pawn.
Yeah.
Which pawn is he attacking? This one?
Yeah. 2 on
Okay.
1 so far.
All right. Well, let's do.
Miles, would you update for us, please?
Okay.
Do it, move it at a time. Do it in the proper move order here, so I can get mine too. Bishop takes pawn.
I think I could do that. Or get him over. Whoa. Or get
Okay.
him over to the
Queen
to
to queen to
7
here.
and then come
Well, you
down.
may be right. This may be the time to do that. If you go here,
What
and
happened?
let's assume
What happened? Slower.
he
Miles,
takes, you take.
He won't take.
How did the queens?
Trying to keep up here.
I'm talking about the
Way
pawn.
behind it.
What
How did the
pawn?
queen-
This pawn.
How did the queens do? This pawn went here.
Exchange. See,
The game.
Maybe it's not.
it takes.
I don't
Queen
know.
takes.
Well, this is a good move in general.
See, it was actually
Here,
then queens.
here, he goes there, he goes there. Let's just plain be solid for the time being.
This rook never moved.
I think be solid for the time being, just move quickly.
Okay, yeah, let's
Okay.
move.
Just because it sounds weird,
Put
but
that back.
yeah. I think.
No, we're letting his king get out now. We don't want that. We don't want his king in, hold it.
Well, what are we going to do?
King out.
I see that, but I don't think that's a particularly terrible thing, and I think it's, yeah, I know that, but we don't want to use the other rook because that leaves that other pawn, well, our passed pawn, totally unprotected.
Here and here and there.
Yeah, okay, but let's just, I think, you know, let his king get out.
Oh, I see, he was gonna trade 2 for 1.
He's not going to go anywhere significant anyways.
You did good, Paul. He was gonna trade the knight and the
Right.
bishop for a pawn.
Okay, feel free to talk into your microphone.
Okay. That was a good move.
All righty.
Not that you guys really warm.
Alright. Play rook to b1.
He can't stop this, no matter what he does.
See, he's actually played that move now. Yeah,
Okay.
he's moved. This is his move.
This is his move. All right.
So,
So now, I think you're probably right. Should we push it?
I say we can.
Yeah.
we can get away with it. It's still 2 on 2.
We end up winning
That
another
bishop
exchange.
Moves
at the very
here, moves here, bishop moves here.
Yeah.
He goes here, you take him, let's do it. Okay.
Wait, we could
I'm
lose
sorry,
this
Ben.
pawn. We could lose this pawn if we have to deploy our bishop.
If we
Our
what?
pawn will be so far ahead it won't matter.
We win in exchange regardless.
No, we've got
Alright.
this thing's, I think it's, we've got
Let's
it.
see.
I think you're absolutely
Yes.
correct.
Go ahead and push him.
I
then.
think,
Yep.
I think you're absolutely
Oh,
correct.
he's here, all right.
I'll check the time again.
And even if I'm not, at the very least, we win another exchange.
Yeah.
It'd be 2 rooks versus a knight and a bishop.
Oh, this bishop can come. Oh, he pulls this bishop off like this. We take it with the rook, we take it with the bishop. Either way, he wins that
Rook to
exchange.
B2.
Rook to B2.
See, to stop it. I didn't bet on that, but
Yeah, for the time
That's
being,
great.
It's stopped in
How
its
did he
tracks.
get his rook to B2? Where was it?
No, that's great. All we need to
couldn't get
do
his rook
to B2, that's exactly what he did.
How?
Rook to E7.
Where was
and
his
put it
rook?
all the way over.
His rook was
Exactly.
down
Yeah, his
here.
rook is-
Exactly. He did it, he moved, no, his rook was here, he moved it there. This is what we're going to do. I think you're exactly correct. We're going to move here, here, and then we've got all kinds of fun stuff like here,
Yeah, or
right?
Or just
Yes.
push the e
And
pawn.
then-
even with this pawn, we're in kind of a little
His,
bit of a
his,
mating net.
look
We
at
may
his
not
rook
even need this
couldn't
pawn.
move to B2 because his rook's here.
It moved to, see, it moved to B1 the previous turn. I haven't been keeping up since I've been running back
Okay,
and forth.
okay.
Just
So-
push the
Okay.
e pawn. It's a
Yeah.
rook.
Okay,
You keep up the main board there.
rook to E2,
and then slide it to there.
yeah, that's basically the
Beautiful.
thing.
No, our rook isn't. Rook to E2, okay.
Rook to E7,
It's unstoppable. His bishop can't get over there.
yeah.
Well, that pawn can go
Thank
now.
you for talking in a soft voice, you tend to calm me down.
That pawn can go now, can it? Why can't the pawn go now? The pawn can go now. Oh,
It can't
the
move.
king would get it?
Greg had, the board wasn't right.
Greg's board wasn't right?
No, something wasn't right.
He's played bishop to F1.
Bishop to F1, he's scared. He's taking the pressure off of that pawn because he's going to get onto that one. All righty. Now we do, I think, the obvious here,
Stack the rook.
right?
Yeah.
Anybody have
Yes.
another thought?
Move the rook over
I
to
see.
A1.
Yes,
Yeah, you're right.
A2, A7.
To A7.
Yeah.
I used to have a
Yeah.
brain. Okay, and then he is going to possibly do something like bishop here in hopes of, swapping bishops, which is just fine.
Cut down the rook immediately.
But basically, we're going to come down
Give him an
here.
additional blockade on
We're going to come
on
down here.
B2,
I agree with that.
but
Okay.
yeah, he won't be able
This
to
is,
maintain.
this is it. I think we've got him. Take it there.
It's impossible. It's
He
unstoppable.
was trying to get his bishop out. That totally stopped.
I think it
his
looks good.
Yeah.
Now, this is what happens. Technically, this should be white, or in this case, red's queen side attack, our king side attack. However, you will note that we have a very good queen side attack going. And, that's what happens. And this is why one should listen to MCAT rather than read books. Thank you.
That's right.
Yeah, I second
All right.
that.
Well done.
Okay.
We're about ready
It
to
only
win.
took 6 of us, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and a 4-to-1 time advantage.
Which we use
almost
so
not fair.
efficiently.
Yeah.
Most of it was screaming that we were running out of time, and my screaming at let's stay on point, or even though I never actually used those words.
Thank heavens. Thank heavens we were able to hold the line amidst all the
What
Bishop to C4.
Bishop to C4, absolutely predicted. Tell him we predicted that! Sorry.
Okay.
Now
What
I
if
think we
went
swap.
here now?
Right now it's 3-2
Right-
on the pawn. We have to see, we have to
Right
do something.
now,
bishop.
right
Do
now
something
we
about the stack.
take
Take
the bishop,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Take it now.
Yes.
See,
Knight takes.
No.
Rook.
Rook
Advance-
here.
Advance the rook.
Yeah. No, take the bishop.
We don't,
You're
we
right,
don't,
you guys-
we could come up with a superficial check here. He moves there, then we move here.
Maybe taking the bishop right away.
Take
is
No,
a
the
good-
bishop.
we don't want
Get rid of the
to. We don't want to unnecessarily activate
Yeah.
the king.
Don't
No, but what I was thinking about, well, let's look at immediate this. If we look at an immediate this, we're not, rook takes, he's got to take,
See, look, and then this and that, and that, just take the
That
bishop.
wins, I believe.
Keep it simple.
Taking
This-
the bishop loses.
this wins immediately?
Look at the board, it's bad. It just looks awful.
Taking the
I think
knight
that's the
doesn't.
safest
If he,
way.
Doesn't
let's
help
look
much
at
either.
both. Please get out of the way of the board. I'm sorry.
You're right.
We go here immediately. Now, if he goes, rook takes pawn,
Right.
Which he has to.
No.
knight takes knight, excuse me, rook takes rook.
Just a minute. What he does is takes your rook with his rook, we take the rook with our pawn, and then he takes our pawn with his bishop. And then we take his bishop.
He does which, where, how? This?
Rook
No,
takes
he
rook.
takes our rook.
Rook takes
Yeah, then our
rook,
pawn takes it,
and a pawn takes it,
and then he takes it with the bishop,
and we take the
and
bishop.
we take the bishop, okay.
That's perfect.
Well, rook ahead, game over.
Okay.
Okay, is that the only possibility?
That's a good
No.
idea.
There's
So
another
we have to
possibility.
look.
Oh, bishop takes bishop is ugly.
He takes the
How do we
pawn.
lose
Okay,
if
now
the
hang
bishop
on a
takes the
second.
bishop?
If the
Knight-
bishop
knight
takes, the-
Knight
The
takes.
knight takes-
this,
Rook's not there, though.
Yeah, 6.
I'm sorry, no, this is if we move here.
He takes.
If
the
we
pawn.
move here.
He takes the pawn.
If we move here, and then let's assume he does something
That's a
like,
good move there.
thank
What
you.
did is-
If he goes rook takes pawn, rook takes rook, knight takes rook.
Then bishop takes bishop.
We-
I don't
we
think
get-
we can lose.
Bishop
yeah,
takes
we
bishop.
lose our passed pawn, we get another bishop.
Yeah,
Get a
we pick
piece
up
for
a
a pawn.
piece. I think this is good immediately.
Yeah.
Now, is that correct, or are we better off bishop takes bishop, knight takes bishop,
no.
rook here?
I think it's better
It
taking
allows
it
them to
with the
maintain the
bishop.
blockade on B2.
It's really hard
What,
to lose it.
what,
Only is-
what,
only is-
what blockade on,
No,
because
we'll
of
take
the-
it with the knight, and then we can't get it.
But-
We can't get
oh, excuse me, bishop takes bishop,
Then the knight takes.
knight takes bishop,
Now B2 is covered.
he goes here. Now, how's the B2 covered?
We can't
Because
get
we can't
B2 down.
exchange it.
We can't exchange it, so the other way's better. Moving
He
the rook-
can't, oh, I see what you're
Moving
saying.
the rook's better.
See, he
I
can't,
see.
he can't
I
exchange
see,
rooks
but-
because I would lose right away.
But if we are a rook against a knight with all of our pawns, we can get our king out, we can have great fun. Well, it's up to right, it's your right, okay. It's the only thing is that I tend to think it's less risky because it simplifies,
what
but
I
that's
thought,
the only advantage I'm going for. But you're right, let's do my first instinct here. Excuse
That's
me.
what we were gonna do.
Excuse me for tooting my horn, that was a cheap shot and petty, and I apologize.
Okay, the move has been made.
I think it's the safest way. I mean, it's hard to lose at this point, but we don't want to.
What
Greg's
did,
got
what
about
did we
2
do?
minutes, so
We
he
don't
can
want
do
to
a
take
lot
another
in 2
45 minutes to
minutes.
do it.
He can play 4 games in 2 minutes.
Bishop takes pawn.
What's our time
No,
situation? Has
rook
anybody
move.
looked?
What? Oh, we
Rook
did the rook
takes.
move. Okay.
Rook
We did.
takes,
We did rook move.
Oh, man, we're gonna win this one, I think.
There's quite a few ways this can go. I'd be I wouldn't be surprised if Greg surprised us.
Time situation stands as we have 19 minutes.
Good,
Greg
all
has
right.
less than a minute.
Okay.
What did he do?
Oh, yeah, well, somebody has to stay, oh,
Greg might
Miles is
resign.
there. Miles is there.
He might resign.
Miles is there, okay. Oh, heavens. Well, this is actually pretty exciting, because if this works as we think it's going to work, we're going to wind up with a piece for a pawn, and at that point, it should become self-working.
Then we have to be careful that we don't get him in a.
Rook takes pawn.
Rook takes pawn.
Probably is the
Rook
best.
takes rook.
Rook takes rook.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, the knight can't take, and the bishop can't take, and everything's fine. He
Yeah.
loses a
No
piece.
matter what-
Hold it. This knight can take our rook and the bishop, too.
No, rook takes rook. It's the best way. Guaranteed.
Knight
Sure.
takes,
No matter-
bishop
No
takes.
matter who takes, we're taking something back.
Here, put it back, though, to see which is a better way to
It's a
take.
2 for
Oh,
1. If
yeah,
rook
This
takes
is
rook,
it.
it's a 2 for 1.
Rook takes rook. Okay, we do rook takes
He's
rook.
gotta take it with the knight.
He has to, yeah, exactly.
Well, he loses a piece in either case.
Right. He only got 30 seconds.
Greg's, we're gonna win this one, guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a 2 for 1 either way. So
Okay, rook takes rook. Did he get it?
he got it.
What if he goes bishop takes bishop?
It don't matter. We take the knight.
Oh,
I don't know.
We could throw a check in to save the rook, and then just swap.
You're right.
You know.
Yeah, you could, no, he'd still.
No, he'll still get a piece. It still works out well for us, so let's just not worry about it. He might wind up in, 2 pieces for a rook or something like that, but it'll still work out
I see
well.
what you're, yeah, maybe.
We got rid of his rook, and that's good.
Bishop takes bishop.
Pawn takes bishop.
He could end up with better position than we thought.
Yeah.
You know,
Not too much better.
he don't have the time either. He's probably
Bishop
out of-
takes bishop.
Congratulations
Pawn
to the group.
takes bishop, and he gets
He gets a rook.
a rook.
But it's better than letting him have the bishop.
Who else?
Yeah.
You got 45.
Rather give him the knight than the bishop.
Right, and I think we can.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
Greg's flag is fallen. We are victorious.
Okay.
What, he had a minute, you had a minute,
All
what
right.
happened?
Okay. Do you want to say any words to the audience, or you're going to pretend that all this chess rating doesn't mean anything?
Hey!
Pendulum move was when I played rook to rook 6. And
Get out of the way of the
things
camera. I'm yelling at everybody
Yeah,
else too. I
get
might as
where
well
they
yell at
can
you
see
too.
it.
My rook to rook 6 move was when things went bad. I thought I had a better game up to that point, but that's when things switched around.
Right.
I should sure sat behind my entrenched position.
Now, in
I
this
had all kinds of
position, would you have gone bishop takes bishop?
irrelevant.
All right.
You had all kinds of levers, yes you did.
I had all kinds of levels, but I thought that move looked so good at the time and boomerang. And that's chess for you. I just sat behind my pawns and moved this up at the right time. And I thought my game was more attacked than yours. I was sitting behind quite a tough position. So
Certainly
the group
black
played
pawns were
very
moving.
well. You didn't fall for a thing.
No poison
No
pawns.
cheap shots, didn't fall for a thing.
I saw you put this pawn
There
here.
were all kinds of
poison pawns.
All
There were
right.
all kinds of landmines you could have fallen into, and you didn't fall into any of the traps.
Isn't it good we didn't take that pawn?
Didn't fall into any of the traps. That was very good.
I said, look at that
I don't
pawn."
think we were tempted, if you'll excuse me.
Oh, we were all tempted. Ooh, he's leaving that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I know. It's
With
poison.
the rook one, I sort of hoping that the play here and the rook was going to get over here. And there was all kinds of possibilities there. And,
All right.
very good.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
And Paul, thank you for narrating and
Thank you,
helping so
Dale.
much.
All righty. And I want to
Everybody.
thank Dale for also interrupting Greg at a critical moment. He was in there chatting away, and we really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Look,
I don't want to be an observer.
Yeah.
you know,
I was just an observer.
sort of like, look.